Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Friday, January 31st, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App, $ORION NWSF, or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got some NBA action this Friday evening, as well as some wrestling with WWE SmackDown. We got the Milwaukee Bucks versus the San Antonio Spurs. Dame, Giannis, Wemby. What else could you ask for? Tip-off is going to be here in just a couple minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get settled in for a little NBA and WWE. Let's get it, baby. And on the thumb, on the left, you already know what it is. One of the best players in the NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and on the right, Victor Wembanyama. Let's go. An OG, phenom, and then a new phenom, kind of new to the scene. Definitely want to be able to see what we get here today. And I got SmackDown on as well, so we're going to be double dipping. And hopefully SmackDown will be entertaining. Probably won't be necessarily as good as the Royal Rumble tomorrow, but definitely excited to see, what we end up having in store as we get settled in for that. And then obviously tomorrow's stream will be WWE Royal Rumble from Indy. On Sunday, we'll end up doing NASCAR for the very first race of the 2025 season. And then on Monday, we'll end up doing Monday Night Raw. Anytime you end up having a Monday Night Raw after a big pay-per-view or PLE, like Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, or WrestleMania, it usually ends up living up to the billing. Let's go, baby. Let me get on my screen set up here. All right, here we go, baby. Reflect in the building. How are you? Rest in peace. It just seems like every single day now we're having some kind of tragedy, and I flip on social media and I see another plane crash in Philadelphia, going into like a neighborhood or mall area. Very tragic. We had the military helicopter, go head first, into an airplane. And then now we have another airplane, going at a nosedive. And again, a lot of shocking footage. Prayers, for everyone that obviously that was involved in their families. And again, we'll see what we end up getting as far as more information as the night goes on. Hey, appreciate you. It's been a couple days. Things have been a little light with the support. So to get a dono started right out of the gates means a lot. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you. Anything that you want to be able to see photo-wise, let me know. And obviously, once we understand that football season is starting to get wrapped up, I am, forced to kind of pivot to do a little bit of NBA, a little bit of NHL, March Madness for college hoops. We'll be doing NASCAR on Sunday. And again, we just got to be able to put our toes into so many different events. And then, we'll actually look at the analytics and metrics and see which ones stick and which ones that we may have to do a little bit less of. But I appreciate you so much. Thank you. We're at 10:90 to go. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little cactus jack, bang, bang. Not a whole lot as far as options today. Not a lot of games on the NHL side. We did the Kraken yesterday. I got WWE SmackDown here on one of my other screens. But I figure Dame, Giannis going against Wemby, that's the best matchup for as far as NBA and today. And then we'll be doing, obviously the Royal Rumble tomorrow for a few hours. NASCAR on Sunday for the first NASCAR race. And then Monday Night Raw on Monday. And I know you and me are just counting the days for the Mariners to get back going, even though it sounds like we're not really making a whole lot of moves. And the moves that we did make aren't really that exciting. If anything, we're a little bit disappointed, bringing back, guys like Jorge Polanco and letting guys like Josh Rojas and Justin Turner walk. And I know Rojas struggled a little bit last year. And I know Justin Turner is getting up there in age, 40 plus. But again, what that tells me is that they're moving Polo from second to third, is that we're going to get call-ups, from our number one, farm system in 2025. So I don't know if we're going to end up getting Cole Young and Colt Emerson, as well as maybe Harry Ford, but there is a pretty good chance in 2025 that we'll get at least one, but as many as three that get called up at some point or another if there's injuries or we're just looking to fill in some spots. But again, we're going to have to do a lot with a lot less than expected. Pitching staff is still top 5 in baseball, but again, as far as hitting, again, I ended up, I think I sent you the video. Did I send you the video, Reflect? I think I did, based off the Marine, Layer podcast that was going into the pitcher's eye or the hitter's eye and showing all the stats on Seattle being the hardest ballpark to be able to hit from. And there's been many interviews from people like Ichiro, Ken Griffey Jr., and as of recently, even Teoscar Hernandez saying that it's very, very difficult to hit in Seattle compared to any other ballpark, in Major League Baseball, right now. So again, a lot of things kind of going against us, but I'm still very excited for the season, and hopefully we end up getting a good matchup here tonight. And I got SmackDown as well, Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. And one thing is for sure, Pat McAfee will be in the Royal Rumble 100%, especially since it's in his hometown of Indy. Well, not necessarily hometown for him is Pittsburgh, but obviously playing days for the Indianapolis Colts, maybe where he lives currently right now in Indianapolis. How are you? Yeah, that one just ended up happening just a couple minutes ago, like within the last 30 minutes to an hour in Philadelphia. This one wasn't a collision with a military helicopter and an airplane. It just looks like a plane nosedives, right into like a mall apartment area. And the explosion is horrific. Again, there's a lot of different camera angles that have caught it already. And it's obviously there's not going to be any survivors in that crash. And if you ended up seeing the footage of it, when you do, you'll realize that there was no chance for those people in that particular airplane. Sarah, how are you? $10 holla, 90 to go. Appreciate you. I got SmackDown on. We got the game on. And hopefully things are going to be spicy here today. I got to grind it out. I have bills to pay. So it's, even though it's like, I would love to do football year round, but obviously the players aren't going to play full time, 365, 24/7. Baseball season doesn't really get going really until March or April. So we are at the end of January. So again, we're going to transition into February, a short month. And again, we'll do a little bit of everything, a little bit of NASCAR, a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of basketball, a little bit of hockey. And then once we get into March, obviously we can start tasting baseball very, very close at that point. And once we get into April, we'll be doing baseball pretty much every day, all the way into like September, October, besides maybe an occasional NASCAR race on Sunday. Let's go. Yeah, very scary. Lots of tragic things that have already happened in 2025, and we're not even out of January yet. Like if you go down all the tragic things that have happened so far, there's like a list of like 10 already, and we're only in January, so hopefully things will calm down a little bit. But my hearts and my prayers are with all of the families that obviously are related to those individuals in that recent crash. Good to see you, man. It's been a few days, Reflect. Any other information that you got for me for the Hawks or the Mariners? Again, I think some casual, Seahawk fans might, think that, the hire was good, or maybe thinking that the Mariners did a good job bringing Polo back. But I think real OGs know, they're not really excited about the hire, and we're not excited that Polo is back with the Mariners. So, but it is what it is, and KO coming down into the ring here, and I don't really know what to expect. But again, it's like we can't ever really get our hopes up, just because we know how the organization is cheap. But it almost is comical at this point. Like you would think that it's not like they didn't make any moves. They did make a couple, but it's just like lower name value contract kind of guys. And again, they may or may not be able to be a better player than the guys that they're replacing potentially at DH or in the starting lineup. But, I'm still excited for Mariner baseball, even if it might be a disaster. But I'm hoping that we can overachieve and somehow, some way get to 90 wins, make a wild card or contend for the division, and then just see what happens if we can get to the playoffs. So. But we got the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis. Dame was a game-time decision. Dame is playing. And then we got Victor Wembanyama. And then obviously SmackDown here as well with Kevin Owens in the ring. Yeah, I mean, not everyone can be the Dodgers and grab like 15 fucking players on top of the all-star team that they already have. It's just ridiculous. It's like no one's going to be able to compete with them. It's like every elite Japanese player is going to request to go to the Dodgers if it's possible and sign with them, since they already have, Yamamoto, Yoshinobu, Shohei Ohtani, and now they got Sasaki. So it's just like it's just going to be a never-ending cycle. And I guess if you're a Dodger fan, that's great. But for everyone else, it's like, man, good luck. They're doing starting lineups now, and they're getting everyone announced. Yeah, but we definitely have missed you on the stream, man. Like I said, it's good to be able to have your energy and your positivity. I feel like with some of the streams since you've been gone have been a little negative, a little argumentative, a little combative, from people in the chat and whatnot. And again, this is a place for us to be able to come together. And again, I'm in this position that I'm at based on hard work and a lot of reading and film. But again, I don't expect everyone to believe or agree with everything that I say. Of course, right? I'm not going to be 100% right. But again, I am in this position for a reason. But again, hopefully we can get a little bit more unity and positivity. And again, we are very happy that you are back. And, and I just feel like, just because we end up getting, certain signings, from teams in the Pacific Northwest, that doesn't mean it's good. Like I said, yeah, we got this coach or, oh, we got this player, but that doesn't mean it's good. Again, it's like if you're just going to put your full faith in the organization and not really understand why people are questioning hires or re-signings of players, obviously that means you're not going deep enough with the teams and understanding what a lot of us as hardcore fans know on a daily basis. So, I'm not too thrilled, about the signing for you with the Hawks, not too thrilled about Polo coming back, but I guess we have to just, work with what we have, I guess is the best way to say it. All right, we're about to get into tip-off here. Yeah, there was rumors about that early this morning, so I figured that was going to get done. All right, here we go, baby. Kevin Owens in the ring, talking some smack. Victor Wembanyama. Tip off, and here we go. Little pick and roll with Dame, and like I said, I've got to see quite a bit of matchups with Dame and Giannis, even though the NBA isn't the most exciting thing. But again, nice and one right there. But Victor Wembanyama, must-see TV. Dame and Giannis, those are three of the top, 12 players that are in the NBA right now. So when I was looking at the schedule, and SmackDown obviously is on right now, which I am watching. But again, the card is going to be nothing too crazy because obviously we have the big pay-per-view tomorrow with Royal Rumble. Free throw, no good. Spurs with the ball now down 2-0. Daniel in the building, what's good? But I hope everyone is having a fantastic Friday. I hope you're having a fantastic week, and we're glad that you are here. Good ball movement there. Corner three is good. Okay. We got CM Punk coming into the ring there with Kevin Owens. We'll do a little bit of commentary for both as we're going. Dame at the top of the key. Nice floater layup, in and out, no good. Spurs with the rebound. See if they can push and get this fast break. Wembanyama for three. Almost got rejected. Did. Pass it out. Pump fake. Wembanyama. Floater. Gosh, he is so good. Like, it's just crazy that he's so athletic at that size. When I see someone that size, I'm thinking like Manute Bol, Sean Bradley, guys that are a little lanky, George Murasan. And when you end up seeing Wemby, I mean, he really does dribble and move like a guard or a forward, not like a, freakish center based off his size. Good block right there by the Spurs. Floater, off the glass, no good. Bucks with the fast break, Dame with the ball. Yes. Big block. Wemby is ridiculous. Off the layup and the glass is good. Nice early 7-2 lead for the Spurs at home. Corner three, in and out, no good. And I figured this would be a fast-paced game with Dame, Giannis, as well as Victor Wembanyama. Ooh, Wembanyama pump faking about 10 feet behind the three-point line. And I am kind of shocked and I'm happy that he hasn't got hurt. But with legs that long, it's kind of surprising that he hasn't had some type of major leg injury yet. I don't want him to have anything with his ankles or calves or legs, but a big block on Giannis on the previous play. And how many guys that can actually reject Giannis? Giannis is almost impossible to stop down low. Nice outlet pass and a flush by the Spurs. Oh, my. 9-2 early lead. CP3, Chris Paul. Okay, Spurs, I see you. Oh, my. We might have to flip the logo here. We'll go to this one now. Little pulsing Spurs logo. Okay. I like what I see. But again, as long as we, have, Brian Wu and George Kirby and Logan Gilbert, and we have Bryce Miller. I mean, I'm not really sure. With Luis Castillo, obviously his numbers have been going down every single year since the first year that we got him. But he's still, if we're going to be honest and looking at all the ERAs, I mean, almost all of them are pretty equal to each other for the most part with ERA and statistics. So if Castillo ends up being our 5, there's not going to be too many 5s that are better than him, even though I would like someone to come up, and take that spot. And if we were to deal him away, it wouldn't really hurt my feelings just based on, his performance the last couple years. But I mean, if we're going to keep him, then we're going to keep him. But definitely have some concerns about, first base, second base, shortstop, third base. Outfield is going to be clean with Randy Arozarena, Victor Robles, and Julio Rodriguez, Cal at catcher. But who's going to be our DH? A lot of kind of questionable hitters there right now. Solano, the new guy that we brought in with like Garver and a few others, and maybe Polo. I don't think that's going to work. Usually we'll have like a Mike Ford or Carlos Santana or a Jared Vogelback. So I don't know. I'm hoping that we can get someone better there at DH, but really the concern is going to be second base, shortstop, third base, and first base. And obviously we can, get guys like Tyler Locklear, JP Crawford. Hopefully we'll have a rebound season. Dylan Moore at second until Cole Young or Cole Emerson are ready. But I think there's a very good possibility that we're going to bring a couple guys up. And again, we can't trade those guys away for bums. At this point, if they're going to be so cheap and not bring anybody in, we're going to have to keep those farm guys and hopefully they develop. And, that might be the only saving grace for the Mariners coming in April. So we're at 10, 90 to go. Appreciate you. But, I mean, I don't know if I've been this anxious for baseball and NASCAR for me. And I know NASCAR is not going to be for everyone. But, again, I like NASCAR because it fills a gap on a weekend on Sunday where I normally have football. So I'm very excited to be able to get that going. And I did it for a couple years, stopped it last year, but I'm ready to get back into it. And maybe we can get some new NASCAR fans to not only enjoy the races, but to be able to support the channel, with likes and subs and views and donos, and we can get a little bit of growth until we end up getting closer to April where we can focus on Mariners and the MLB essentially every day. Dame at the top of the key, working a little pick and roll with Giannis here. 9-2 early on, but now 15-4 Spurs. Man, they are reeling. Lopez for three, in and out, no good. Good board by the Spurs. I knew the Spurs were going to come out with this kind of energy, but I did not know it was going to be this lopsided early. Corner three, and good. Wow. Spurs looking good here tonight. CP3. And they still got CM Punk and Kevin Owens talking shit, obviously on SmackDown, getting ready for the Royal Rumble tomorrow. Giannis, mid-range jumper is good. That stops the bleeding. There you go. 15-7 Spurs. Spurs with the ball at the top. Little pick and roll with Victor Wembanyama. Working a little triangle set. Baseline. Good ball movement there. CP3 touch pass. Another corner three is good. Wow. Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like, the Blazers are playing better now, but for me, like the NHL is kind of boring, to me right now. It gets a little bit better in the playoffs, but, it's just not really my thing this year. And I obviously, most NBA games don't really interest me, but again, I have to try to figure out some filler content until we get to baseball season. But at least it will give me something to get excited about on Sundays. And the thing is I'm watching races on Sunday regardless. So I might as well get back into streaming, because if it's not that, what are we going to do? Some, NHL or NBA, and I'm already doing that already, and wrestling throughout the week. So I want to be able to kind of vary the streams, little NASCAR once a week, wrestling a couple times a week, and then, basketball or hockey maybe once a week, and then maybe like an NFL, freestyle stream once a week. So that way it's not just one thing that we're doing. Now, if I could do NFL, freestyle streams every day, and we could end up getting a turnout and getting the support, that would be my ideal thing to do. But at least at this time, that's not where we're at. And there's not a whole lot of news on the NFL right now to do a stream every day either. Pick and roll with Dame, top of the three. Bang! Big three for Dame at the top of the key. 17-12 Spurs. CP3, nice bounce pass. Corner three again, in and out, no good. Giannis with the board. And the CM Punk, Kevin Owens shit-talking fest is going on forever. Corner three, front rim, no good. Spurs with the rebound. Very up-tempo and high pace here. Foul, wow, no call for the Spurs there at home. Big block, fast break. Lots of threes as usual. Robin Lopez, front rim, in and out, no good. CP3 with the board. Yes. I agree. I can't wait to be able to see what guys get called up, and I haven't been this itchy for baseball in a long, long time. Giannis with an and one after the reach. Oh, my. Anything else going on? Any new news that you got to provide for us? I know I was reading that Pete ended up snagging, one of the other individuals on the Seahawk, organization to come down with him there, or the Raiders, to kind of fill one of the spots there that they're trying to build a decent type of team and organization with, some familiarity, obviously, with what he had, obviously, in the past. 19-13 Spurs. CP3 really pushing the ball well with Victor Wembanyama and company. Nice pump fake and a flush. Big dunk. Oh, my. Harrison Barnes, a walking dunk. 19-13 Spurs. Good ball movement here by the Bucks. Jackson Jr. with an up and under, no good. CP3, fast break. God, they are fast out there. Another three from the baseline, no good. CP3 with the offensive board. And a foul. Nice. Yeah. And then I guess we'll find out if DK ends up getting, re-signed with the team or not. But again, if they don't improve the offensive line or the defense, it's not going to matter. It's just like you can just have players out there running around. You can have names, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to get to the NFC Championship game, win the NFC West, or get to the Super Bowl, if you don't got an O-line or a good defense. Again, it's like you can have these flashy pieces at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, but it doesn't mean anything if, you don't have good coaching, mentors, and a good O-line and D-line to be able to help those other position groups out. So CP3 free throw, in and out, no good. Now we got Miz on the screen here. Is that Andrade on the screen with him? You think there's a good possibility that that Gino will follow Pete to the Raiders? Nice crossover. Dame with the easy layup. Broke his ankles. Is good. Oh, my. They're coming back now. 21-17 Spurs. And a very fast-paced first quarter. And I was hoping it was going to be like this. Not just, brick after brick, three after three. Barnes for three. In and out, no good. I mean, obviously a little bit too many threes for my liking. But at least the Blazers are 6-1 in the last 7 games. And we've really turned the corner. They started looking a little bit funner to watch about a month ago, and they're really starting to put it together. Oh, Giannis dunking on Victor Wembanyama. Oh, my. A poster. We'll have to flip it to the Bucks spinning logo for that. Wembanyama, deep three, air ball. He tried to retaliate after getting dunked on, and he turns it over. 21-19 Spurs. David in the building. What's good? Yeah. Well, hey, you're a little early, man. I haven't done my picks and prediction video yet, but again, I feel just like the last time that these two teams played in the Super Bowl, I feel like it come down really close to the wire. That the Goodell and the referees, they would all love, everyone is going to be rooting for the Eagles besides Chief fans, just because of, whether you want to admit it or not. I mean, we watch these games and we see these calls that are not correct, but, they don't get a whole lot of penalties. They definitely get calls in their favor. And anyone that gets defensive as a Chiefs fan, you shouldn't, because the same shit was happening with the Patriots, and those fans were bitching and moaning then. Now it's come full circle. You need to take responsibility. If that's your favorite team, you have to understand, people are not just hating because they're jealous that you guys might three-peat. It's that, you guys can win without the cheating. You guys can win without the bad reffing, and that's what we would hope to see. But, it really is going to come down to, if it's close at the end, the refs could, dictate, a Chief win at the end, calling a pass interference or an automatic first down when it's very close neck and neck, and they end up kicking a field goal with Butker and win. But, when I look at the rosters, I think the Eagles roster is better, player for player. Again, defense, a little bit better player for player. But it really is going to come down to if the Eagles are going to win, they're going to have to win by 10 points, or more, because if it ends up being by 7 points or less, there is going to be a chance that, the referees might dictate the outcome of the game, based on some bad calls to favor, Kansas City. I mean, it's kind of been that way all year. And obviously, it would be the first team to three-peat, and that would be a big deal. But again, I think that a lot of people have gotten kind of sick of, the Taylor Swift stuff, the referee stuff. And again, they just want somebody new. Saquon Barkley has been great. And again, the only thing that concerns me is the offensive line with the injuries to Juergens and Dickinson and whatnot. But again, the offensive line on the Chiefs, right tackle Taylor is garbage on that right side. So there's a little bit of a weakness with at least one spot on the line for both teams. But again, it's hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. The only team that was able to beat him is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we were able to hold Mahomes to no touchdown passes. The Eagles will not be able to do that. But, I definitely think the Eagles are going to be the more motivated team since Jalen already lost with a lot of those guys, and they want to obviously win. Kansas City is going to be motivated to three-peat, but they just been barely able to hang on. But really, it's going to come down to O-line, D-line, coaching, play calling, and Saquon Barkley. If Saquon Barkley can have a Saquon Barkley game, they're going to win. But if Saquon gets stuffed, and only gets like 80 yards, no touchdown, or 80 yards and 1 touchdown, that's not going to be enough. He's going to have to go for over 100 and probably get in the end zone twice at least, preferably 3 times. But we'll see where it goes. But that's kind of my view of things right now. But I think it's probably one of the closer 50-50 matchups, because if you look at it, both teams have a good defense. Both teams have very capable skill position players. But again, the one edge might be, Saquon Barkley, giving them that edge that they've never really had before. And if he can, show his dominance, that might be just enough to be able to, have a big enough lead. So if there's some shitty calls in the fourth quarter, it won't affect the game because they already will be up by too much, where it won't be like a 3-point game. It might be like, 7, 8 or more. But if Philly can get up by 10 or more, and then the refs, it won't matter, at that point. But again, if the games are close, then you have a risk of the referees dictating the outcome. And that is facts. That would be interesting. 23-21 Spurs. Who do I want to win? I would rather have personally the Eagles win. I got a lot of, friends that, have been rooting for the Chiefs, for quite some time. But I mean, three-peat is cool, right? But again, if the three-peat was something that would to be done and there wasn't this controversy with the refs, then I think more people would be on the Chiefs side, But again, I just think the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, referees, again, everyone appreciates, their greatness and their dominance. But again, they're good enough to win without ref help. But I think, again, everyone in the world is going to be rooting for Philly. But the thing is, it's not just rooting for Philly and they have no chance. The Philly, player for player, is probably the best team. But again, they have to be able to get a big enough lead so the refs, aren't a factor late in the game to possibly change the outcome of the matchup. But I'll tell you, Chiefs fans obviously want Chiefs. Roger Goodell wants Chiefs. So there's going to be certain people that want that particular victory. But I don't really think a three-peat, it would be cool. It would be the first team to do it. But again, if you're good enough, long enough, you eventually become the villain. And then obviously, it's like you're almost getting into like super villain status, where I think now, if they do three-peat, I think the hate on them might be even greater than the Patriot hate when they were good for like 20 years with Brady. Because again, we haven't really seen Brady and Belichick, we know, with like the cheating and whatnot, but we don't think we've really seen them get bailed out in the same kind of way. And again, the team that has the least amount of penalties called, every game has been really close, not really a whole lot of blowouts, but I would love to see Jalen get a ring and Saquon, but again, we'll see if they can do it. They already tried once and failed. This team is better than the last team that went to the Super Bowl, but again, you're not going just against the team. You are going to be going, against the referees. So, and that's not just like a hater statement. I mean, I watched every fucking game the Chiefs played this year. And again, you watch each team play, and there's been bad calls for every team in the NFL, but definitely you get more kind of questionable head-scratching calls to go their way than any other team in the NFL. So, Roger Goodell is definitely rooting for them in the three-peat. But really, it doesn't matter with me either way. I mean, if the Chiefs win, then the dynasty, three-peat. But again, I think everyone is going to be rooting for Philly besides Chiefs fans. I think that's a pretty realistic statement. Unless you have a connection with Patrick Mahomes, or you're a Chief fan, or you're an Eagle hater, then you're going for the Chiefs. But other than that, layup is good. 28-26 Spurs. Foul on the floor. big block by Wembanyama, giving you a Dikembe Mutombo kind of vibe. Rejected. Nice block by Wemby. Nice backdoor cut. Giannis backing down Wemby. That's what we wanted to see here today. Pump fake, fade away on Wemby, and good. Giannis with the fadeaway jumper. 31-30 Spurs. High scoring first quarter, which I was hoping for. Wemby reach-in foul from Giannis. That was on the floor. But I imagine, Cowboy fans, Commander fans, Giant fans are not going to root for the Eagles. And there might be some NFC teams that aren't going to root for the Eagles either, their fan base. But, Saquon Barkley has been the most impressive player in the NFL this year, in my opinion, even over, Josh Allen and Lamar at quarterback. Deep three is good. Woo! Wow. But, we'll wait and see. It's definitely going to be close. And it wouldn't shock me if the Super Bowl is decided by 3 points. Whoever has the ball last, they kick the field goal and they win. And you never know. It could end up being an overtime game like we had last year with the Chiefs and the Niners. Pick and roll with Wemby. Off the dribble and foul. We're at 10, 90 to go. And then WWE Royal Rumble, is it on 2:30 Pacific or 3:30 Pacific, Sarah? I know I have the graphic on my phone and whatnot, but I'm looking forward to that, and that'll be a good 3 or 4 hours tomorrow. Will be fun. 3 Pacific. Okay. Excited for that. And I'm definitely excited for NASCAR Cup Series Clash at Bowman Gray, a real short track. But again, if you like NASCAR and you like racing, it's not the Daytona 500, but again, it just gives you kind of like a teaser before we get into the big boy in a couple weeks. So, and then I'll fill in that gap on Sundays that football will be obviously over, and I'll have at least that to watch. Nice pass down to Giannis and tipped out of bounds. 35-30 Spurs. Captain in the building. What's good? How are you, brother? Giannis, in and out, no good. Wemby with the rebound. Corner three is good. Oh, my. Lots of corner threes for the Spurs here today. 35-31 San Antonio. Giannis. And one, but it goes in and out. Giannis to the line. How you doing, Captain? And Clash at Bowman Gray will be at 5 Pacific, so 3 Pacific tomorrow for WWE Royal Rumble, 5 Pacific for NASCAR Clash at Bowman Gray. We'll do Monday Night Raw on Monday because any Monday Night Raw after Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, or WrestleMania usually will be good. There'll be some belt moves, belt changes, new champions, and some surprises. So we'll do that. And then I haven't looked far ahead for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We might sprinkle in, little Blazers. Might be doing some freestyle NFL stuff, and obviously we got Super Bowl coming up around the corner as well. Free throw is good. 35-32 Spurs. We missed you, Captain. It's always good to be able to have Reflecting Captain in the building. Giannis. Free throw rolls in and good. Got a chance to watch the new episode of Severance with Adam Scott. It's a kind of a sci-fi thriller on Apple TV Plus. It's amazing. Wemby with the crossover, jumper no good. Giannis with the board. And I also watched Dexter Original Sin, which is awesome. I highly recommend if you're a Dexter fan, you will like this kind of spin-off before Dexter gets into, the original series. And they're also doing like a resurrection. So you have this one that it's just kind of narrated at times by Dexter, but it's got a bunch of individuals, like someone playing young Dexter, Christian Slater, and a few others. But the cast is done really well. It's actually really good. And then they're going to actually have another Dexter show where he's in it, and they're filming it right now, and he'll narrate. So can't wait to see when that comes out. Stranger Things coming out here in 2025 as well. Supposedly it's going to be like 8 movies. Like every episode is going to be like a big movie. Can't wait to be able to see that. Supposedly they have like 600 or 650 hours total of footage for season 5, the last season of Stranger Things. So I can't wait for that. At the buzzer, no good. And at the end of the first quarter, one of the best first quarters I've seen in a minute by teams that aren't the Blazers, and we're knotted up at 35. Wow. Let's go. $10 holla. Thank you guys so much. Things have been a little light in January, so every dollar counts. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. A little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. Appreciate you. Let me know what I can do photo-wise for you, Reflector Captain. Appreciate you guys very, very much. And it doesn't have to be NBA related. Again, I just thought this was like the best matchup. Blazers have the day off. They won yesterday against the Magic. Did the Kraken and Magic last night. We're 6-1 in the last 7 games. So pretty cool to see the second youngest team in the NBA and the Portland Trail Blazers actually kind of putting it together. And I really like the roster. You got Scoot Henderson, you got Kamara, you got Denny, you got Klingon, every single individual. You got Shaden Sharp. So it's like one of those things that, we just got to be able to get the chemistry together, but really fun to watch, within this last 7 games on the 6-1, finish, and hopefully they can continue it. And maybe we can add like a Cooper Flag type of player, and get some free agents to come through to make the team a little bit better. End of the first quarter, 35-35, we're knotted up. We're at 20, 80 to go. Yeah, the thing is they're moving him to third, but he can't even play second base defensively. And I know, some people got excited about it, but I know me and Reflect didn't. We weren't really too thrilled with the, coaching hire for the Hawks, and we weren't really thrilled with the Polanco move. And again, if there's anyone that breaks down analytics and stats, it's us two. And again, it might be able to work out, but I really have my doubts, and again, what that tells me by barely bringing anybody in, Mastroboni and Solano and a lot of these kind of jobber players that they're trying to, get them to overachieve in the hardest hitting ballpark in Major League Baseball in Seattle. The DH position is going to be a big concern again, like it is every year. But again, what it typically would mean is that Dylan Moore might start at second, but we're going to call up Cole Young or Colt Emerson this year. We are. Maybe even Harry Ford. So I wouldn't be shocked, out of the number 1 farm system, the Seattle Mariners, we are ranked number 1 right now, that we should get at least 1 or 2 that get called up within the first maybe 3 months, 4 months, and then another one, maybe later in the season, depending on their progression and whatnot. But again, we have like 7 or 8 players in the top 100, but how many would actually move up this year? Probably 3 at the max. But I highly anticipate Cole Young and Colt Emerson. And if that's the case, then that would cover, second base, shortstop, and fill in some of the gaps that we have questions of. And even if they struggle a little bit, it'll be fun to watch them and root for them, because there are guys in our farm system than rather rooting for a guy like fucking, Polanco or Garv. I want to be able to see, us develop. And if we're going to struggle and we're not going to sign anyone and ownership is going to be terrible, then, we just got to root extra, for those guys in the farm system to pan out, because now we can't trade them away, because if we did, we'd probably trade them for bums that wouldn't pan out. So we got to pray that we hang on to most of them and they pan out for us. We're knotted up here at 37. Brooke Lopez, alley-oop from Lillard, 37 up. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see kind of how it goes, but mean, the Dodgers are the best team in baseball and then signed like fucking 15 people. It's like they already got billion dollar payroll, and then they're just doing more. It's going to be very difficult to be able, and it's not like, the Yankees did it for a long time too, when they had that run with Jeter for 4 years in a row. But just because you got the most money doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win it every year. But, if you look at this Dodger roster with all the pitchers, and they do have a problem with pitchers staying healthy, and then all of the skill players that they have at every position, I wouldn't be shocked if they run it back and win again. So, and again, with Soto not being on the Yankees, they're not going to make the World Series this year. It'll be someone different. So I guess there's a little hope, for Mariner fans and other fans of other teams like Houston and Texas, New York. But again, New York got there because of the addition of Soto. And without him there, they could still make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll make the World Series again. You're not going to get Yankees-Dodgers 2 years in a row. Not going to happen. Corner three, no good. Damian Lillard here at the top of the key with the rebound. Hit him with a little hezzy and a crossover. Step back. Front rim, in and out, no good. Yeah, and again, even though we didn't have the offseason that we wanted, I don't think we ever will. Corner three is good, but I feel nice hit there by Johnson in the corner. Lots of corner threes by the San Antonio Spurs, but again, the pitching is awesome. Most people would be drooling to have our starting five and our pitching staff. I think that our mid relievers and closers are going to be more healthy this year. That'll equate to 5 or 10 more wins. Like with Brash and company, and again, you might end up seeing a phenom or two, from either the rookies or that guys have been in the farm system that we can actually use to make us better. But not re-signing Rojas or Turner. We'll see if that was a mistake. But again, for whatever reason, they think Garb and Polo are worth being on this roster. But pretty lazy by the Seattle Mariner organization, but it shows you, how important it really is to have a good owner, a good GM, a good manager, and then everything will fall into place. And if you don't have good in those areas, you really, run a risk. Front rim, in and out, no good. You run a risk of just, them hoping that you overachieve and make the playoffs once every 5 to 10 years. And then they look like, oh, we're brilliant. No, you guys didn't do shit. The players did it, not you, not the front office, but they'll take credit for it and then take all the profits. But, hopefully one day they'll sell and we'll actually get an owner that will actually spend some goddamn money. And I don't expect us to ever be like the Dodgers, but it would be nice to be like one of the top 10 spenders. So that way we can actually compete and, end up having a decent run at maybe actually going to a World Series, since we're the only team that's never been. So, facts. Yeah, Mitches were bad this year, and they were saying, oh, Solano, Garb, Haniger at DH. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, hell no. Like, both Mitches were terrible. I mean, they both had moments, where they stepped up and helped us win games or had a walk-off, here and there. But if we're talking about consistency, they were fucking terrible. Polo, started hitting late, but his defense is a liability. Like, again, I know that a lot of us, we want to see players that are well-rounded, not just good at defense and can't fucking hit or can hit and can't play defense. Like, we need well-rounded players, and it's going to be kind of hard to construct a championship roster with a owner and an organization that's cheap as hell. I know a lot of season ticket holders are not going to renew, again, based on what's been happening the last couple years. But I'm not going to boycott the team because I love them, so I'm going to watch them and I'm going to call the games. Fast break by the Bucks. Layup is good. 45-43, San Antonio. But I definitely feel that Seattle needs better evaluators to talent. But you could probably say that for both Seattle teams, Seahawks and Mariners. Layup is good. Wow, 17 off the bench. Yes, contracts are really, really bad for the Mariners. I would agree with that too. And now Lillard fouled going to the line. Yeah, I don't think he can play third base. Bliss is going to be more of like a shortstop second baseman, and then we're going to be waiting for Cole Young or Colt Emerson. They're going to put probably Dylan Moore at second to start off. But again, you go from Eugenio Suarez, and then you weren't happy with him with the strikeouts, but now you see it's getting progressively worse. What we would do if we had Eugenio Suarez still, we'd be happy. right? To go from him to Rojas, who had his moments, but then kind of fizzled and wasn't really that good late, but started off decent. And then now Polo. It's like, you went from a guy that, that we kind of maybe took for granted. Yes, he struck out a lot, but at least he was a guy that could get 30 to 40 home runs and get 80 to 100 ribbies. Now, Rojas, he could never dream of doing that. And now you got Polo there. He's even going to be worse than Rojas more than likely. So, again, at some point or another, we got to make sure that we figure out the right first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, shortstop. Outfield is taken care of with Robles, Arozarena, and Julio. Catcher is already done with Cal. Pitching staff, amazing. But again, it's going to be about first, second, third, and shortstop. And depending on who we get there for our future, that's going to determine if we end up winning, the division and, make a deep run or not. And won by the Spurs. Trey Jones, I see you. Yeah, but also too, with that Marine Layer pod, going over all those statistics on like the pitcher's eye, batter's eye, how it's like crooked in the outfield, and all the interviews of former Mariners and Mariners that played there. It is, by far not just something that we talk about and complain about. Like, it literally, based off stats, is the hardest ballpark to hit at. And, not just for Mariner players, but for visiting players. Teoscar was saying when he was on the Mariners, he could be on the road and go 4 for 4, go into Seattle the next night and go 0 for 5, and it's the reality. It's, not the kindest ballpark to hit. You might be able to get contact, but you're not going to get hits. And, again, that's why we need to be able to, figure out, the right money and the right, scouting to get guys like Luis Ariz, like another Ichiro to come, because that would be a guy that his numbers would go down being in Seattle, but they still would be much better than most of the players on our team, and that could really be a big lift. Like, I don't really understand how Ariz is bouncing from team to team. If I had a player like that on my roster, I would lock that guy up for life. The best modern hitter that we have probably right now. Facts. Free throw is up, and in and out, no good. 51-47 Spurs. Yeah, but I would love to be able to see, a couple. I want to see Bryce Miller, try to get a no-hitter. I want to see Wu. He just celebrated a birthday yesterday or the day before. Happy birthday, Brian Wu. Love him. Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, still being kind of like the OGs. And hopefully Bryce Miller and Brian Wu can step up even more. So, and then really, we don't know what we're going to get out of Luis Castillo. He's definitely our worst pitcher. And I wouldn't mind if we got someone to get called up to take that spot, but we might have to wait. But if the pitching staff can stay relatively healthy, as well as the mid-relievers and the closers, and even if we struggle hitting, we could still probably get to 90 wins and possibly, win the division or hit the wild card. But again, we'll see how the season goes. But I'm still very, very excited. I mean, we have to be, right? We have to be optimistic. We already know that the ownership is terrible, so there's nothing that we can do. Bitching and moaning about it ain't going to make it better. We just have to go out there and just overachieve and just try to do the best that we can with limited talent. And Julio definitely has to be the Julio that we paid him. We need Julio to go 30, 30, 40, 40 with home runs and stolen bases and be a better defender, better bag runner. We need overall better Julio performance. Airball 3 in the corner. Rebounded by Harrison Barnes and good. 53-50 Spurs. Now 53-52. I think right now, Castillo's the worst, and then Bryce Miller is the 4, and then it's going to be a toss-up between the 3. Gilbert, Kirby, or Wu, I think, to be the best. And, there is a chance that Miller could elevate his game, and we could be talking about Wu and Miller being possibly, at some point, the two best pitchers. But again, we already know Logan Gilbert and George Kirby have our respect. So we're going to, obviously give those guys kind of the top role for now, right? With George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, they're at the top. But Miller and Wu have closed the gap, and there's a chance that they could even leapfrog the other two. And if that's the case, that could end up being really good for us, as long as we don't have a dramatic drop-off on Gilbert and Kirby. And I want to be able to see more wins. I want to see them pitch longer. Strategy hopefully will be a little bit better as we go into commercial break. 53-52 Spurs, but we'll see where it goes. $5 holla. I mean, you know it too. I mean, like I said, we got a lot of people on the channel that, watch film, or, watch games or read, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they go on the level of depth that we go. But you already know, how it goes with him. $5 holla. But if Wu ends up being our best pitcher, I'm here for it. I love Wu. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little cactus jack, bang, bang. And again, I like developing guys from within. And that's why, with Castillo, we just brought him in. And he did good the first year, but he's been progressively getting worse every year since then. And, he's not our guy. We got him from the Reds. Yeah, he's on the team, but it's not like someone we drafted or someone that we developed ourselves. And I'm always going to have, more of a loyalty and liking of guys that are our guys. Now, of course, if we end up bringing someone in and they play well, great. But again, even with the Randy Arozarena, we brought him in as one of the biggest names on the deadline, but he's not better than Victor Robles. So I think the biggest thing for us is the Victor Robles emergence. That was huge. And hopefully he'll end up having a huge impact because, if you think about it, he's one of the most valuable players on the team. I feel Cal is the most valuable, but as far as Victor Robles, when he's in the lineup, that's going to give us a much better chance to win game in and game out when he's in the lineup. Oh, build a burger. Jump on it. Oh, and he got it. Let me know what you guys want to do for photos, if any. I got you. Appreciate you guys. And again, it has been a little light, with support and whatnot. So I really do appreciate you guys coming through and showing some love. So that way I can, make sure I can pay bills and, take care of Paisley. I don't need to be rich. I just need to be able to keep going. And JP Crawford lost his spot as leadoff, because if we were dumb enough to start JP at leadoff, we're not going to go to the playoffs. That's going to lose us a shitload of games. And I know that might be a harsh, ego hit to go from maybe the 1 spot to the 7, 8, or 9 spot, or even, going to like the 2. But if we're really being real, JP needs to be in like the 7, 8, or 9 hole. 9 hole is probably the best spot for him, and Victor Robles needs to be our leadoff hitter. Go with Victor first, maybe Julio second, Cal third, Randy fourth, and build it that way. And again, we'll kind of see how they do it based off trial and error. But I think that Captain and Reflect, you guys would agree. We all watch these games very thoroughly. And Victor Robles, hands down, should be the leadoff hitter. The best base stealer on the team, the tone setter. And when he gets on base early, it really does set the tone for Cal, Julio, Randy, and everyone else. Love his energy. And everyone said, oh, Randy's got this energy. But to me, Randy takes plays off. And that is a turnoff for me. I don't like guys that take plays off. Wemby, reach in foul. And again, Victor is a guy that has the same type of infectious energy as Randy, but is more likable and doesn't take plays off, in my opinion, either. Reflect with a 20. Thank you so much, man. Again, it's been so light in January. We're well below our normal numbers, and so this is definitely going to finish the month strong. So thank you so much. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, a little cactus jack, bang, bang. $20 holla. Thank you so much. We want to get some Mariner photos up, we can definitely do that. Yes, sir. And we only have less than 5 minutes to go before half, so at all of halftime, we can get all kind of Mariner photos going here. Wemby, free throw is good. Andres Munoz, good choice. And again, being able to have, our main guys for the 6th, 7th, and 8th and 9th inning, and being able to have those guys healthy will be definitely huge for us. Wemby at the top of the key. Baseline pass. Harrison Barnes. Down to CP3. Very unselfish ball here by the Spurs. In and out, no good. Rebound by the Bucks. Giannis at the top of the key. Giannis to Dame, to Giannis. A little give and go action, but Wemby is there to stuff it. Corner 3 is good. Yeah, I mean, that's when I'll feel things are back to normal. It's like I love being able to do baseball every day, and then it transitions into NFL. It's just that once we get into February and March, it's kind of like, filler content for 2 months, and that's a long time. I got to do a little March Madness in March, a little NBA, little NHL, little Kraken, little Blazers, and these games like the Spurs and the Bucks. But the thing that's going to make me the happiest is doing Mariners every day, and obviously during football season. And obviously I'm a big WWE guy and NASCAR guy, so when we do WWE and NASCAR, I'm going to be very excited doing those as well. Yes, 100%. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. $59.58. Wemby at the top of the key. Deep three by Wemby. In and out, no good. And for a guy that's almost 8 foot tall, he's actually decent at, from shooting threes, but it is a little ridiculous. You get everyone shooting threes, guards, forwards, and centers. But I don't think we've seen an athlete like Wemby ever. Like, he is literally a one of one. For his size, he should not be able to move so smoothly up and down the floor like someone that's 6'8", at being someone that's almost a foot taller than that. Corner three is good. $59.58, now $62.58. Giannis. And that's a foul. We got 3 minutes left, and we'll get some photos up here. I'm going to start prepping them now. Giannis, Dame, pump fake, Connaughton, dang, that's good. But if as far as how we manage the batting order day in and day out, things should be better than what we had with Scott Service, you would assume. And then a big foul there by the Bucks on Wembanyama as he crashes to the floor. I'm ready for this, man. Oh, man. Extra large Mariner logo. Let's go, baby. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm itching. And I got to be able to go up there for at least a game. I try to go to 1 to 3 games a season, but, with the responsibility I have with Paisley and whatnot, probably not likely for me to, be able to take Paisley with me up there or to stay a night overnight. So probably we'll have to go during July 4th. Free throw is good by Wemby. But, if we can go to, early in the morning, catch an afternoon game and then drive back and get back by 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, in a night, it would still be a really fun experience like we did last time. And we got to see the Mariners and Orioles, obviously on the 4th of July. And we ended up getting the dub. Didn't get a souvenir, didn't get a ball that time around. I'll definitely be trying to get a ball again this year. But so far, only been to, 9 games and I have 3 baseballs. So I think that's a pretty good ratio. Most people aren't going to be that lucky. So. But I am a honey badger when I go. Not going to knock over any kids, and I'm not going to be that asshole guy, that's going to steal one from a kid or push a kid out of a way. But let me tell you, if a baseball is in my area and there's a bunch of adults, that are nearby, I'm going to get the ball. They're not going to get it, 100%. $62.59. We are at 45. We got generous donos from Reflect 10, Captain 10, Reflect 5, Reflect 20, and we need it. Let's be honest. I mean, some of the streams have been pretty tight and pretty minimal and whatnot. So, it definitely feels good to actually start to get back to where we were in the early part of January. Megan in the building. How are you? 62-59 with 3 minutes left here. Bucks up on the Spurs. And then we are going to get some Mariner photos up here at halftime for all of the great support here with the channel. And so far, so good with this NBA game. And obviously, you have SmackDown going on right now as well in Indy. We're going to be doing WWE Royal Rumble tomorrow, then NASCAR on Sunday, Raw on Monday, and then once we go on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then we'll see what the best event is. And then a few days after that, we'll be getting closer to the Super Bowl. Excited about that. 62-59 Milwaukee. Let me get some more photos loaded up if I can here. Do we want Julio, Andres Munoz? What other players are you guys wanting? Just Mariner photos in general. I mean, I got all of them on, obviously, in the file, so I can just throw up anybody that you guys want there. I got you. I mean, obviously, I would love to get a Cal ball. That's the next on my list. If I can get a ball, I've been extremely lucky, with the Kike Hernandez, the first ball. That was awesome, with my dad. Then I ended up getting one with my best friend Justin, the Julio rookie ball in his rookie season against the Royals and Bobby Witt Jr. Then I got another ball, the Aaron Judge ball in that 62 home run season. I got an Aaron Judge ball with Preston. So it's like, it seems like every time I go with someone different, something good happens. And and it's kind of crazy too, because when I got the Kike and the Julio ball, I was on the Mariner dugout side, but when I got the Judge ball, I was on the Yankee dugout side. So, but if we end up getting tickets, I'll definitely be behind the Mariners dugout, because you never know when JP or Julio or Cal or whoever, they decide to throw the baseball into the crowd after the inning ends. That gives you another opportunity other than home run balls or just foul balls. So, Dame. Jumper in and out is no good. 64-63 Bucks. And then a foul on the floor. Yeah, there's still a lot of names that we're still kind of waiting on. What do you reflect? What do you feel about Solano and Mastroboni and all of those other little name moves? We made 2 or 3 really, really small moves. Do you have any hope on any of those guys? Solano is probably the biggest name of guy that we brought in out of those lower name guys, between him and Mastroboni from the Cubs and Solano from the Padres and whatnot. But I know Mariner fans were definitely hoping for something more. But if our farm guys pan out, it won't matter. Giannis, offensive foul. Ran over Wemby there. Yeah, and again, it definitely gets competitive at a Mariner game, depending on where, the ball ends up landing. Like when I went to the 4th of July game, I had this drunk asshole guy that kind of snuck, behind us with his son, and he tried to box me out for, a couple foul ball opportunities and whatnot. So, definitely we're going to be sitting a little bit farther back, so I don't have to deal with idiots like that. Because I'm not only trying to get a ball for me, I'm trying to get a ball for my friend. My friend Justin, he's been to probably, 50 to 100 games when he used to live in Oregon and in Los Angeles for Dodger games and Mariner games, and he's never gotten close to getting a ball besides the Julio ball that I got in his rookie year where he was sitting right next to me. But other than that, I really would love to get a ball for him. And even if that meant, a Cal Raleigh foul ball goes right into my hand, he's like my best friend. And, it would be something I would love to keep, but I already have 3 baseballs. He has none. And that would be a cool thing for us to share. So definitely hoping I can get one this year. 71-66 with less than a minute 30 to go. And we are going to go over some Mariner photos here for the GOATs in the room. Corner 3 is good. Yeah, they are very prominent at shooting these corner threes for the Spurs. Kind of weird seeing CP3 in a Spurs uniform, if I'm being honest, but 20-24 record, 12-11 at home. Not the greatest, kind of like the Blazers, kind of figuring it out really young for some of their players. And then the Bucks 26-19, but they're only 9-12 on the road. You think that Dame and Giannis would be better than that if they were true contenders in the East. And again, we'll see if they end up making the finals this year, Eastern Conference or NBA. But there will be a few teams like Cleveland and Boston that will say otherwise. Floater by Middleton is good. 10-foot pull-up jump shot, 71-69 with a minute to go in the second quarter. Yeah, I'm not too thrilled about it. Again, if we're just grabbing these type of guys, we might have just re-signed Turner and Rojas, and whatnot. But I mean, I still wish we had Eugenio Suarez, but that was such a long time ago. Because not only, I know he struck out a lot, and a lot of Mariner players did, but at least he gave us positive vibes, and he was fun. He was likable. Like how many guys can we say that about that are on the Mariners in the Mariners, history, that they're really likable? Like everyone roots for him. Like not everyone is going to have him as their favorite player, but he's probably in your top 5, as far as positional players, as far as fans are concerned when he was on the team. Big block by Wemby. That's number 4. Rejected, another block on the other end. Wow. Yeah, I mean, Cooper, being, at one point the number 1 receiver in the league, but he's kind of injury prone now. So, if Chris Godwin doesn't re-sign, the Buccaneers and a few other teams might be looking that way. And now, if Cooper Kupp can stay healthy, I would love to have him. But the real question mark is, how much do you pay a guy like that? And if you overpay for Cooper Kupp and then he misses the whole year or half a year, you're fucked. So I know some teams are going to be just like, I love Cooper Kupp. I think I love his game, but I think some teams are going to probably stay away unless they end up losing key pieces themselves. Like, Bengals losing T. Higgins, people are going to be looking for fillers to, fill those gaps and fill those spots. But I would rather have Chris Godwin than Cooper Kupp, believe it or not. I want to keep my core intact if possible, but, we'll see where possibly Cooper Kupp will end up. There'll be a lot of movement, in the NFL for sure. Free throw, in and out, no good. But you probably won't see Cooper land with a team that already has a pretty strong wide receiving core. You're going to go to a team that really needs that spot desperately. Free throw is good. All right, we are almost at halftime, 71-70 Bucks. And we're at halftime now. What an entertaining first half between these two teams that I don't watch on a regular basis, but I try to tune in here and there. 71-70 at half. 35-35 after the first quarter. Okay. All right, let's get into some action here for the photos. And let me know, Reflect and Captain. I'm just going to start going in with some of the Mariner players that we have locked in. But if there's anything that specifically you want, let me know and I got you. But hopefully we get good play out of Andres Munoz. Julio's got to be that 30-30, 40-40 guy. Hopefully that ends up being the case. Victor Robles, one of the best players on the team overall. Can't wait to be able to see his progression, and he should be our leadoff hitter for as long as he's on our team. JP lost that spot, and it would be idiotic to put JP back at leadoff when you have a guy like Victor Robles. Facts. We need a lot more tridents up, and I wonder what our catchphrase slogan will be this year. Obviously, it'll be something a little bit different, but hopefully we'll be able to step up to the challenge. But definitely very, very excited about the opportunity to, get better. And hopefully we can make the playoffs and, contend with the Astros and the Rangers for the division. Because, the Angels aren't going to win and the A's aren't going to win based off the move, right? So it's going to be a 3-team race. Rangers, Astros, Mariners, and, they might have better teams than us, overall, Rangers and Astros. But again, if that pitching and then the closers and our players play up to their potential, like the way that they should, then, you never know. anything can be attainable with the Mariners. Yes. Oh yeah, and he deserves it. You know, Puka is the better receiver. Tall, physical, great route runner. You know, good yards after the catch. Doesn't get, as hurt. He does get hurt once in a while, like Cooper Kupp, but there's a reason why Sean McVay is brilliant with that staff. They just don't miss on draft picks. Yeah, and no more the girlfriends. That fucked him up 100%. You know, I know he was butthurt about that. You know, maybe she didn't mind, and it was easy for her to move on. You know, to date another athlete or another individual. But I definitely think that was a factor of his poor play. You know, for a couple months, just like when Brady was going through the divorce. You know, to act like those things don't matter. They do. You know, especially if you actually love the person, and it's been, a relationship for, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. You know, it may not be marriage and it may not be forever, but sometimes you get blindsided when, the boyfriend or girlfriend cheats and then it just ends, and then you're, trying to kind of pick yourself up and put the pieces back together and whatnot. But hopefully no girlfriends for Julio, and we'll get some more dubs. We're at 45, 55 to go. And we can always have Luke Raley at first base. So you have like him, Tyler Locklear and a few others trying to wait in the wings. But, again, and hopefully JP can get back to being better hitter and better defensively. But don't be surprised with Cole Young, Colt Emerson, Harry Ford, Lazaro Montez. We got 7 or 8 guys in the top 100. We are the number 1 farm team in MLB. But again, we're going to have a few of those guys get called up, and hopefully they produce. And I think that they will. Some of them are going to struggle because obviously when you get called up from single A, double A, high A, triple A, it's a learning curve. But even if they end up struggling, it's probably going to be a little bit more exciting than just normal Jorge Polanco or Dylan Moore or JP Crawford, like, Mitch Garver, Mitch Haniger. It's like, we already know about those guys. We want to be able to see some of these others. But for the time being, hopefully Dylan will be able to hold down second base until those guys are ready. Shortstop with JP, and third base and DH are the biggest question marks, obviously, going into the season. We don't really have a good DH, and it seems like we say that every fucking year. Can't wait for this guy. Yep. He's our best pure, overall player. That is consistent on a game in, game out basis. It's like what he was doing is what we were hoping Julio would be able to be. But again, maybe with no girlfriend, less distractions and whatnot, or getting a girlfriend that's going to be better, for him and for her. And, if it ends up happening that way and not being a distraction, and hopefully he can have a all-star season and we can have Julio in the all-star game. Yeah. Right here, though, they're not going to be better without. They're going to be worse. You'll watch and you'll see. Now, Soto's terrible at defense, but he can hit. And there was a lot of games that he bailed them out. And you got to think with Judge is an awesome player and Giancarlo Stanton, but they're kind of injury prone. So it's like Jazz Chisholm, is a name, but he didn't really do a whole lot, in the postseason. He struck out a lot. If you actually go back and look at the stats, he didn't really play that well in the postseason. So he's a name, and name recognition is cool, but at the end of the day, Yankees are going to be worse without Soto. So they're not going to the World Series back to back. The Dodgers could, but the Yankees won't make the World Series again. They should still be one of, probably one of the playoff teams. But again, Soto, whether you like him or you hate him, he really did bring the big three together with Giancarlo and Judge. It used to be the two of them, and then you brought Soto in, and Soto played better than Giancarlo, and then it was kind of the Judge-Soto show. And even if you bring in guys like Cody Bellinger, that's cool, but that's not fucking, Juan Soto. And he might be overrated to some because obviously he can't play defense, but one thing that Soto can do is he can hit. I think that was something that we saw, so. Well, that it is. I mean, he already does make them better. I mean, Francisco Lindor. I don't know about the polar bear and Pete Alonso if he'll be there or not. But even though that Soto can't play D, it made that team a billion times better. Even though they had to spend like $1 billion fucking dollars, right? But it definitely got better. Now, again, what will they do? A lot of times they underachieve, based off the roster. They don't really do what you think they're going to do, but we'll see. Well, at least we got to be happy that we don't have Stanek and some of these other guys anymore. Because, I mean, shit, if the Mets were able to make the playoffs, kind of just at the end of the year, with the roster not being that great, I mean, decent, but, you add another piece like that. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to be good enough to go to a huge, deep run, but, I mean, their team player for player, they have some pretty good players over there on the Mets. But they just, are pretty inconsistent, so. But maybe that'll change with the addition of Soto. 71-70 bucks. Definitely need JP to get back to his regular self. Don't know if that'll happen, but we'll find out. Yeah, there's probably a pretty high probability the Mets will make the playoffs. Wish we could say the same for us, but, we'll see. It's going to be a lot harder for us. That's for damn sure, but, you never know. Could be that, 1 year every 3 to 4 years that we make the playoffs. It could be, maybe it could be this year. And that the Mariners will make a move at the deadline. They'll do that again. We'll see what kind of name that we end up getting. But I know just a lot of us were hoping that the name would be, obviously here in the off season as well. But we know how the Mariners are. And I'm really looking forward to this guy since we barely got to see him. Little Matt Brash. If we just had Brash last year, that would have won us 5 to 10 games extra. Just having him being able to potentially pitch the 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th, depending on our injuries. And, again, a guy that, sometimes fucks up, but what pitcher doesn't, A lot of guys will fuck up at starter or, obviously at, mid reliever and closer. And it'll be exciting to see where that kind of goes. Me too. Because the Mariner organization is cheap. They're stupid and cheap. They're one of the worst run baseball teams in baseball overall. We're the only team that's never made a World Series. A cheap owner that would just rather profit, like the Cowboys and Jerry Jones. Delusional. Thinking that with the roster that they construct, that it's good enough to compete with everyone else. Like living in a fairy tale land. Like they literally think that they're better than they are, or they know that they're not good enough and they just want to profit. They try to play dumb and play coy. And the fans are smart. We obviously know what their motives are and whatnot. And it just kind of stinks because, a lot of times that we actually have players good enough to win the division, to, make a deep run, maybe getting to a ALCS, or World Series. But That's why it's so important to have good people at the top, good owner, good GM, good managers, good assistants, because if you don't, then even your star players won't be able to hit their potential. Facts. We're definitely going to have a lot of talent. That's for damn sure. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes when you get people that are just rich and they don't really care about the fans or the history or, trying to be able to build something, that's unfortunately, that is very true. That sometimes these are just business owners, but they're not really people that care about the others, which it stinks, man. It really does. No, Paul Allen was different, though, because he actually loved his teams and cared and actually would go to the games and, talk with the, individuals on the team. He'd be in the front row. Paul Allen, might have had money, but he actually cared about the Seahawks and the Blazers. He's not like the people that own the Mariners. They're not even in the same stratosphere. There's certain owners like Mark Cuban and certain people that, they might be rich, but they really do care, about winning and trying to make the organization better. And then others are just rich, and they're just trying to profit. So, I mean, I would know, because like I said, I've lived here in the Pacific Northwest my whole life. I've been watching sports and wrestling for, 39 years. And, there would be a lot of times where Paul Allen would be, someone that you could not necessarily just go up to and approach, but again, he had his spot right underneath the basket. He usually would have one of the other, managers or assistants, GMs, with him. They were courtside, and he was when he was alive and when he was healthy, he made it a fact, to be present so people could see him, and he wasn't trying to do it to show off. He just really truly enjoyed basketball, the Blazers, and obviously we've seen him, at hot games as well. But of course, with the time difference, in Seattle and in Portland, you might not be able to be at every game, home or away. But hopefully one day we can get an owner for the Mariners that had that same kind of love as Paul Allen. If we did, we would be in a much better situation than we are fucking right now. I'll tell you that. All right, this game is about to get started up. Let me get all my screens adjusted here. Giannis with 21 and 9. Johnson with 20 for the Spurs. Yeah. And remember too, that like every single person, on this channel, it varies based off age and knowledge, so it's like we got some people that are as young as, 18 to 20, but it goes all the way up to 90. So again, especially if you have someone that has, been on this earth and has experienced things, even more than me, based off age with Reflect, I just think that we kind of approach things the same way, trying to really go deep, and there's a black area and a white area, but there's also a gray area. And if you actually go deep in the gray area to be able to go with the stats and the analytics, then you're able to come up with more predictions that come true, and you're able to analyze things on a deeper level. And again, I think some people can recognize that, and others, they see the game a little bit differently. So, but definitely, he's got lots of knowledge to be able to share. And we all kind of support relatively all the same similar teams here in the Pacific Northwest, where there might be a team different here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty similar, for the most of us. One might be Oregon, one might be Washington, but one might be the Buccaneers for me, and Seattle Seahawks for a lot of y'all in the room. But I still follow Seattle and everything that's going on with them as if they were my own team, because in Oregon, that's the team that they try to cover, as the closest team, obviously, besides the teams that are in California. One sec here. $78-74 Spurs. We're at 55 to go. Yeah. Not every rich individual is going to be pleasant to be around. Everyone is going to be, it really comes down to how people treat people, based on their, status, of being a rich person, and sometimes I feel with certain rich people, regardless on who they are, they lose touch with reality a little bit, and again, some people will definitely get treated differently than others, just like in sports teams, right? Like there's definitely preferential treatment in everything in life, right? Including sports teams and other things as well. 84-79 Spurs. 11 likes to 20. Let's get there, baby. One sec here. $84-79 Spurs. Sarah with the new haircut, looking good, getting ready for Royal Rumble tomorrow. It's always good when you can end up, going to, get the haircut or getting some new clothes or, obviously, something that you're able to get your nails done or anything like that. Self-care, definitely very, very important, even if it's something that you can't afford or do all the time. But, it's always good to be able to, everyone wants to feel pretty. You want to feel good, based on how everything is going on in our world today. Facts. No problem. Yeah, but I think there are some people out there that are really, different compared to everyone else. For me, if I was going to put a ranking of like who is a good person, you know, like regardless of money or whatever. Like if you look at Keanu Reeves and you look at, you know, people that have interacted with him, you know, obviously I don't know him personally, none of us do, you know, but if you look at a lot of the stuff that has been published in books or articles or, you know, just interviews or things that you've seen online, you know, some people are a little bit more, you know, have more empathy and sympathy and care, you know, than others, you know. So I think that not every, you know, Hollywood or a rich person is equal. You know, some people, you know, definitely change with the more money that they get back. '84-'81 Spurs. One second here. Harrison Barnes with the miss. All right, there we go. We're at a commercial break. Now we're back. 88-83 Spurs. And again, you know, I don't read up on every single, you know, celebrity and whatnot, but, you know, as far as being selfless, being someone that, you know, money isn't everything, you know, someone that, you know, can still like ride a subway or drive a modest car and not try to use your, you know, status, you know, and to kind of like rub it in. You know, Robin Williams obviously went through the Depression and whatnot, but, you know, guys like, you know, those two, you know, trying to find work for people that were like homeless and whatnot as like extras, you know, trying to go out of their way to try to make someone else's day a little bit better. You know, not every individual I feel is the same, and some are blessings, you know, on this earth, and it's, you know, good examples to be able to follow. Floater is good. 91-87 Spurs. All right, you said in the National League, who do you think has a chance to beat the Dodgers? Nobody. If I'm being really honest, nobody. I mean, obviously the Padres, you know, are normally a team that is decent, but they lost some people, obviously, in the offseason, like Jurickson Profar and a few others like Solano. You know, so there's going to be teams that will compete, like, you know, the Braves, nice follow through. You know, the Mets, obviously adding Soto. So there's going to be teams that will be competing, you know, with the Dodgers. But at the end of the day, you know, it's like you already had the best roster, and then you ended up signing like 15 fucking players here in the offseason. All of them are good players. All of them are notable names. CP3 with the jumper is good. 91-87 Spurs. But I don't really, you know, they're going to play somebody, but whoever they play is going to get their ass kicked, and they might win a game or two, depending on how long of a series that we're talking about, best of 5 or best of 7. But I don't really see anybody in the National League that's going to be able to keep up with them, you know, based off the roster. It's like you're going to have a decent roster out of the Mets, a decent roster out of the Braves. You know, there's always going to be a few teams that we're going to be talking about, but they're just not on the Dodger level. I mean, the Dodgers is like a fucking all-star team. Wemby with a bank 3. Wow. Wow. Yeah, Phillies, you know, obviously is the most natural team to say, you know, because they always have a pretty well-rounded team overall. That might be their like one of the threats, you know, but I mean, as long as the Dodgers have the pitching and they don't have major injuries to Mookie, Freddie, or Shohei Ohtani, it's fucking over. You know, you're getting Sasaki coming in as a Japanese phenom. You already saw what Yoshinobu Yamamoto can do, you know, and it's like it's going to be a Japanese player pipeline. You know, they're not going to want to go anywhere else if they have a chance to go to the Dodgers if they have a choice. if a team drafts them or if a team has rights to a player and they have to go to Boston or Chicago to the Red Sox or Cubs, so be it. But I know a lot of these Japanese players are going to want to play with Shohei for sure, because a lot of these guys are friends and they played on like the Japanese national team. It's like when Ichiro was on it a few years back. So, they like to be able to stay friends and stay on the same team if they can. 91-87 with less than 7 minutes left in the third. But those are the same ones. And of course, we're probably going to end up having captain a couple surprise teams, because every year we're going to have a surprise team in the National League or two, and same thing in the American League, where you're just going to have this team that just kind of comes out of nowhere and ends up getting really, really hot early on, keeps that momentum going, maybe has a little bit of luck, not a lot of injuries, and maybe some of the good teams have injuries early on. They take advantage, and then you get a team that goes a little bit further than expected, maybe like the Cleveland Guardians or the Minnesota Twins, for example, like that. It's like, they're good, but maybe they go a little bit further. But I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get any surprises like the A's having to move and playing in like a AAA ballpark, and they're going to be in Sacramento and the A's win the division. I don't think we're going to get anything crazy like that. But again, it's not as many like worst to first scenarios or third to first like in the NFL, where a team is bottom and then they go to the top, or they're third and they go to the top. But again, you got to think about rookies. You got to think about guys that get called up, and you also have to look, at free agency and these new players that have been acquired with these teams, and how they adjust with their new teams and whatnot. So it'll be exciting for sure. Hopefully, the Mariners will be a part of the playoff picture. I just like hardworking people, that have dreams and goals, but I feel like owners of sports teams are on like a whole nother plateau. When you talk about owners on sports teams, it's almost talking like Bezos and Zuckerberg from Facebook. It's like they have so much money, you can't even fathom, how much money that they have, and it's like, I feel sometimes with those people, they'll lose touch with reality, just because they have so much money. Not every single one of these guys is going to be grounded. And of course, some of them might have been inherited from, their fathers or family. Some could have been, stocks and inventing something, like Microsoft or Apple or whatnot. But, owners are on a whole nother plateau. But, hopefully one day we can get more people being like Robin Williams and Keanu Reeves, good people. And I imagine there's probably been some questionable things that each guy, rest in peace, Robin, that has done, or maybe, lost it and, acted like an ass and did something stupid. But, for the most part, I don't think there's too many bad things or horrible things that we can even bring up that, Robin Williams or Keanu Reeves has, at least publicly said or done. I love both of those guys. 94-89 Spurs. Well, hopefully we're not fighting against the A's, because if we're fighting against the A's, that means that we're going to be in third or fourth place. We'll see where the A's or Angels are at, but we don't want to be in third or fourth and fifth. We want to be battling with the Astros and the Rangers. Lillard, corner three, in and out, no good. I mean, it would have been pretty badass if like Brent Rooker came to the Mariners, and the Mariner fans would be fucking excited for a reason, but Giannis with his own tip is good. 94-89. Crowd wanting offensive basket interference by Giannis. In and out, no good. Going to the line. Yeah. And it shows you that, even the people that look like they're the happiest, like comedians and whatnot, most of the time, they're struggling. They want to make other people happy, but they're not happy themselves. And, sometimes people go down that dark road, where, depression and substance abuse, alcohol abuse, and obviously if you are, a famous person, you have access to more money for more things that can get you in more trouble. kind of one of those things. You just got to appreciate, every breath that you have, appreciate every day, that you're here. Appreciate the pets that you have. Don't ignore them. Every day that you're living is like a week for your pet. Go out of your way and be a good person, and, it'll come back to you tenfold. 94-89, now 96-91. Dame to the hole and a reach-in foul. I might have been on Wemby there. Thumbnail turned out good with a nice San Antonio City background with Wemby and Giannis. Paisley's in the room now. She misses dad. Dame baseline on Wemby. And again, NBA, obviously is a tough watch, but again, Giannis, Dame, and Wemby, I mean, those are three of some of the most exciting players, that are playing right now. So, big block. Wow. And these two teams are going at each other. The Spurs might be like the Blazers and not have a good record, but they're playing like they have the record of the opponent, like the Bucks. I like the effort. And again, having CP3 on the Spurs has definitely given them a lift. And they say goaltend on Wemby. Cole in the building. What's good? Hope you're having a good day, Cole. When does F1 come back for Cole and Megan? When's the season start for you guys? I get my NASCAR on Sunday, so I'm super excited about that. How long do you guys have to wait for your season to start? 98-91 Spurs. March. Oh gosh, you guys have to wait long like we do as Mariner fans. That stinks. Why do you got to wait so long? Man, that's a long time. The only thing that I've seen F1 related is with Hamilton, obviously, with the Ferrari stuff. And other than that, I haven't really seen too much more. But I have been able to see some old school Chase Elliott, commercials with Dale Jr. Definitely, all the practices and the buildup of the season. And the short track race that they're going to have here this weekend is incredibly small. Like they were talking about like the Buc-ee's, where they have like a store and it's like the biggest gas station, in America. You could like put it inside of the track. So, and it's a huge building, but still the track is not big. And there's going to be a lot of bumping and grinding and a lot of wrecks and spin outs. And I'm excited to be able to get the season started. And we're going to do that on the channel again too, which will give us an opportunity to hopefully reconnect with OGs like Mike. Hopefully he is still with us. Obviously getting up there in age, anytime you're up there at, 85, 90 years old, obviously you got to be a little bit more careful about things, but, NASCAR fans are young and old, and hopefully we'll get some of the OGs from a couple years back and some newbies as well. And then we can grow the platform that way once a week on Sundays until we get into Mariner season. And then once we get into Mariner season, you get this NASCAR to go from, pretty much February all the way to almost the end of the year. So in like November. Top of the key three, in and out, no good. 189 Spurs trying to pull ahead. Giannis, lefty, in and out, no good. Giannis trying to draw the foul, but it's a no-go. Wow, Spurs just pouring it on. See if they run a little pick and roll here at the top of the key. CP3 with the defense on Dame, making it a little bit more difficult for him. Big block. Holy cow. There's been some huge blocks in this game by Wemby and Giannis and others. Wow. Jeez. I wish the Blazers could do that. We don't really have a whole lot of toughness except for Donovan Clingan, but man, both of these teams got some pretty physical players and some really good blocks. 190, Spurs up by 10. 3:58 left here in the third. McLaren has. Yeah, and they're doing it on Fox, so everyone can watch it globally at 5 o'clock. So that's a smart thing by NASCAR to do it at a time where, that's kind of the window where, we normally are watching football. And obviously it's not Super Bowl Sunday. So again, NASCAR fans are like baseball fans. We've already been itching since the season already ended. And like you guys as F1 fans, you're already itching to get it going again. And I'm definitely excited to be able to get that in there as well. Royal Rumble tomorrow, NASCAR first race of the season Sunday, Monday Night Raw Monday, and then we'll see what we got going on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. Maybe a little bit of Blazers, maybe Kraken, maybe NFL freestyle stream, and then obviously going into Super Bowl talk, and then getting into that Super Bowl obviously in the following weekend with the Eagles and the Chiefs. Looking forward to that. See what Giannis can do at the line. One more like to get to double digits. Try to get to somewhere between 15 and 20, depending on the volume. Free throw is good by Giannis. It's gonna be on Fox though. You have Fox at that sports bar, right? That you can request to put it on one of the TVs, maybe. Free throw is good by Giannis. Now they're down by 10, 102-92. Yeah, and then I noticed a really cool thing. I don't know if anyone else in the stream, a lot of you guys are active on social media, but I saw that Showtime, after, these first couple races, starting with like the Daytona 500, Showtime is going to actually have a NASCAR channel, and in the NASCAR channel, you can actually get like audio in-car of the drivers, and it's like an exclusive thing with like that particular thing. I might have to sign up for Showtime, for at least a month or two to see what it's like, not just because of the NASCAR, but we'll see what other stuff that, content wise I can have access to. But, even if it's like 10 or 15 a month, if I can swing it, and it'll help, while I do the NASCAR streams or enjoying it, kind of cool. Obviously, I'm going to be in the Chase Elliott car, but they have it for every driver. And then, you have like the audio stuff and it's like behind the scenes and then graphics. Like it's going to give you more than the traditional regular, stats on the screen and whatnot. Like I like to be able to hear the engines, at the, like when they would, rev it up. I want to be able to hear everything on like a surround sound system, but I like the stats, everything that they can give me. So the more that they can give me, the better. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that looks, and I might have to try it out, for at least a month. And then if it ends up being worth it, maybe I'll keep it, for a while if I can afford it. And that's the real question. But it sounds awesome. Like I was like, ooh, cool. And obviously there's only a couple drivers that I would probably be following, inside of the race, but Chase Elliott is my favorite. Obviously his dad was Bill. I love father-son combos, Dale Jr., and hopefully Chase can have a little bit of a bounce back. No wakeboarding, no skiing, no snowboarding. It's mostly like snow activities. Got to be real careful. You have an injury and you're a NASCAR driver, it could just cost you the whole year, and it did. 106-95 with less than 2 minutes to go in the third period. Third quota. Oh, big flush. Oh, my. Is it hunting deer? Oh, my. Aaron in the building. What's good? Giannis gets past Wemby, up and under. Looked like a little bit of a travel there by Giannis, but again, he's a superstar. And watching Giannis and Wemby is one of the best one-on-one matchups you can watch in the NBA as far as like skill set, size. Like, I don't think there's anything more entertaining than those two because, again, you get SGA, Anthony Edwards, but not a lot of guys can guard those two, and then you have, guys like Luka, and we already know like who the best players are in the NBA. But as far as big men, I think it's the most must-see TV big men matchup. Hence, I'm here because of it. It's like every time you watch, you have an opportunity for each guy to do something you've never seen before, and both guys have the opportunity to score like 30, 40, 50 points, and that's exciting. Nice pass. Wow. What a dime. Wemby can do it all. He can block, he can run, he can dribble. He's a good passer, especially for his size. In and out, front rim, no good. Wembanyama with the rebound. It's just wild. Oh, what a crossover. It's just wild to be able to see someone that's almost 8 feet tall, someone that is like a Manute Bol, Sean Bradley, George Mirasan size. But all those guys were loppy. Manute Bol could shoot some threes back in my childhood, but again, they couldn't cross over. They couldn't dribble. They were very lanky out there, looked kind of, loppy and lost. Wembanyama is the most athletic, tall athlete I have ever seen in my life. Unreal. 112-98 Spurs. They're going to have to get a big rally by Dame and Giannis if they're going to come back on San Antonio in the fourth. But we will see here how this third quarter ends. Corner three is good, man. They are just lighting it up. Good rebound there by San Antonio. Wemby at the top of the key. Three-pointer off. Wow, are you kidding me? Wemby for three off 1 foot. It's unbelievable. It's like I'm watching And One back in my childhood. The guy plays like a street performer or like a street ball guy. He plays like the professor. It's ridiculous. There's no reason for Wemby to be able to cross over and shoot a three-pointer at almost 8 feet tall off only 1 foot, almost like playfully, and just drains it. Unbelievable. What an athlete he is. Pick and roll with Wemby. Jones, in and out, no good. Giannis with the rebound. And we're getting down here to the nitty-gritty. They definitely need Giannis definitely using his body. Wemby wants a charge. Giannis definitely gets himself in situations where it looks like after he gets hit with contact, there might be a little shuffling of the feet. Sometimes, travel is called, but most of the time it's not. He's a superstar and whatnot. But obviously Giannis has got quite a few pounds on Wemby. But Wemby's got that length, and even if Giannis bodies him and gets past him, Wemby's, his aggressiveness and his length, he can still, kind of come back on plays that he got burnt on and sometimes still pin the ball against the glass, even against a guy like Giannis. And not many people can match up with Giannis, let alone take it to him. That's what makes it exciting. It's kind of like watching Karl Malone and Charles Barkley back in my childhood, watching Magic and Bird. Like you're watching something special on both sides. It's fun. $114.99 Spurs. See what Giannis make the free throw here. But it started off 35-35 in the first quarter, so I already knew I chose the best event for today, besides SmackDown being on. But since we have a pay-per-view PLE tomorrow, SmackDown isn't going to really have a lot of amazing matches the night before. It's just kind of filler content before we get into the good stuff, into the Royal Rumble tomorrow. Can't wait for that. Wemby is about to do a step-back three. Good cross-court pass. Jones for three at the top of the key. In and out, no good. Offensive rebound, no good. And then they do get the rebound there. Sochan. Wemby, step-back three. Oh, almost a 4-point play. Wow. Hopefully he's okay. It worries me that, like, when people land on Wemby or whenever he dribbles, like, I'm just assuming that he's going to tear something or something's going to break. Like, he's just so skinny. He's super athletic, but, I mean, if you're almost 8 feet tall, you know, it's like you got to worry about your ankles. You got to worry about your legs, your knees, your quads, your toes, you know, the thighs. Like, you know, you're just lengthy. Like, just from him, from waist down, you know, he's taller than some of the guys in the fucking NBA. It's just crazy. It's like the last guy, maybe since like LeBron, where it's like you knew that this is something that is a generational talent. Wemby, free throw is good. And he's got good form for free throws as well. I mean, what does this guy not do well? Does everything that you would want. He's a great defender. He cares, right? He's got the fundamentals from being from France, and it shows. Getting to work with guys like David Robinson and Tim Duncan has paid off, as well as Ginobili and Tony Parker. I mean, what a great situation. I mean, I would have loved to have Wemby in Portland since we all fucked up the whole Sam Bowie, Michael Jordan thing and Greg Oden, Kevin Durant thing. But, man, he is special. End of the third quarter, 115-101. Spurs up by 14. Can they hang on? We'll find out. Yeah, Wemby's French. Because I think if Wemby was American, he wouldn't be this good. You know, it'd just be like some of the other tall, lengthy Americans that we had back in the day, and they're just not as athletic. But, you know, every phenom, you know, will come from somewhere. Some are going to come from America. Some are come from foreign countries and whatnot. But, I mean, you know, usually European players, you know, have a different type of swagger and skill set. You know, like Luka Doncic and, you know, now with Wemby, but, you know, and we had other guys back in the day like Dirk and, you know, who was German. And, you know, it's like, you know, you're going to get elite players from every race and all over the globe. But usually European players are kind of known to be more well-rounded than American players. American players typically are, you know, kind of more showboaty, more about scoring. They don't care as much about defense. You know, it's more of like highlight dunks and whatnot. But, you know, and then I feel then they may or may not be good passers or defenders, blockers, rebounders, and passers. And, you know, you definitely get that out of the European players for the most part. Even the European players that aren't like famous, you know, it's like, you know, they're there for a reason. They got there because they're good. Yeah, there you go. You learned something new. Yeah, well, obviously he looks, you know, black, you know, as a brother. Yeah, but he is 100% French. And you know what's really cool about him, Megan? He's like the most down-to-earth NBA, like, phenom superstar. His favorite thing to do, play chess, right? And he actually goes, like, outside to places with, like, regular people, like downtown New York, like before a game, like at, you know, Times Square, and just sits down in the park and then plays chess with strangers. How cool is that? Like, you know, it's like not only do you get someone, you know, that isn't like, you know, too much of an ego as being like this next, you know, best thing since sliced bread in the NBA, this like cool thing, but to be able to, you know, do something like chess, which not everyone is into, respect, very cool. And he's pretty good at it. You know, he ain't a world champion or nothing, you know, but it's a pretty cool thing. I don't know. We just had the quarter end, so we'll see what we get here. On the court right now, we got Barnes, Champa, Sochan, Johnson, and Jones. So I don't know when you're going to get that substitution. You're probably going to have to wait at some point. But he's in there now. Barnes, Wembanyama, Chris Paul, Vassell, and Castle. He said, I need to win some parlay money. 45. 55 to go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share, help your boy out. 118, 103. Alley-oop, Brooke Lopez with a flush and good. And again, they're just going to have to, you know, kind of chip away. You know, a little bit of Dame, a little bit of Lopez. Giannis needs to take over when the time is right. They're giving him a breather now. We'll see how long they can last with him on the bench. they have capable pieces, but it shows you even like OGs like CP3 and Barnes, they can get the most out of the role players, and Wemby is ridiculous. Barnes at the top of the key for three, and it's good, extending the lead, 120-103 Spurs. Pick and roll. Lillard to Robin Lopez. Middleton is there. I mean, injuries definitely made him take a little bit of a step back, but Middleton's a guy that can put up 20, 30, 40, 50. At least he used to. Up and under, good fake. In and out, no good. Nobody there for the board. Spurs with the break. 120-103 San Antonio. Sohan. Harrison Barnes, pick and roll, two-man game. Barnes again for three. He's feeling himself. In and out, no good. Damian Lillard here with the fast break with the Bucks. Lillard, Middleton, three. In and out, no good. And again, the Bucks are going to need at least one or two guys down there chasing boards. You can't have 2, 3, 4 Spurs players thinking that they're going to get an opportunity for second chance points. Foul on Barnes, not called. Middleton, fast break. And a whistle. Yes, the Greek freak. I think it's cool that we get that diversity in the NBA. It's not going to just be, Caucasian, OGs like Larry Bird anymore, from French Lick. You're going to get the brothers, that dominate the game and show you something like SGA and Anthony Edwards, which is great for the league. All right. But also you'll get the foreign-born players too, like Wemby and Luka, that give it that flair. Dame from 80 feet, in and out, no good. Got it from three-quarter court there. Little crossover. Barnes for three. He said, fuck it, I'm going to shoot every time. Good board there. Sohan with the dunk. What a rebound and put back. You got the Dennis Rodman vibe, the Dennis Rodman hair. Like a pest, but again, if he's on your team, you love him. And obviously wearing the Rodman number and playing like a Rodman. Nice job. Yeah, but I always think it's cool when you see people that have everyday hobbies just like us, like regular, people, that are, doing whatever they're doing for their dreams and goals and their jobs and whatever's going on, and, when you can get someone that can, play chess with the people and whatnot, it's pretty cool. I could only imagine. And I imagine a lot of those people, like at Times Square, and a lot of those people that he's played with, he's gained fans for life now. Not just for the basketball ability, but just the fact that he has a cool hobby like that. Yeah. 1990, right? Terry Porter, Clyde Drexler, Jerome Kersey, Buck Williams, Kevin Duckworth, right? And then obviously we had Cliff Robinson, 6-man from UConn that helped. But the bad boys, right? With Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars, the Microwave, Vinnie Johnson, right? Bill Lambier, Dennis Rodman, John Sally, going through that era, the bad boys, Rick Aguirre. I mean, I can name drop for days. The James Edwards, it's like second nature to me. But we lost that one, Blazers did, and then we lost to the Bulls with, Jordan. And, it was the early team. So it was the John Paxson, Jordan, Pippen, Horace Grant, Bill Cartwright team with PJ Armstrong, the Stacey King. And then later, and the three-peat after, that was the one that was more notable, that had the Tony Kukoc on the team with the Dennis Rodman and Ron Harper. So each, three-peat, had its kind of own special vibe. But Jordan ended up, losing for 7 years in the playoffs before took a while. It took 7 years from when he started to when he finally got to the playoffs, just considering how good the Celtics were. And we already know how good the Lakers were in the 80s as well. 122-105 Spurs. Yeah, and then obviously we played the Lakers in the 2000 when we had all those vets like Detlef and Scottie Pippen, guys that were past their prime, but they were still cool to have on the team. Steve Smith and Rasheed Wallace, Sabonis, Damon Stoudemire, but we just couldn't get past Kobe and Shaq, and that was the start of the three-peat. And hopefully one day, again, like as far as like all of my sports teams, like, I've been lucky with the Buccaneers and whatnot, but that's not even from the Pacific Northwest. But, Mariners, never been to a World Series. I need to see them win. Need to see the Ducks win a natty before I die. Would love to see the Blazers win, but I definitely wouldn't expect it. But that would be thrilling and whatnot if it were to happen like 20 years from now, or, however, how long it would take or before I'm, not breathing anymore. So, but it would be cool to be able to see, everyone progress and get better, cracking, and hopefully, the Hawks, can get back on track at some point or another. And, same thing with the Huskies. Not necessarily Cougs for the people that are Husky fans, but Dame with the lefty off the glass, no call there. But even though I'm like an Oregon fan, I'm always watching Beavers, Cougars, Huskies, no matter what. I mean, it's just something I've done ever since I was little. So Lopez down in the block. Over on Harrison Barnes. Hook shot with one hand. Floater is good. 124-105. San Antonio. See what the Spurs do here. They got 9 minutes to be able to extend the lead. And right now, if you're the Bucks, you need to cut this lead down to 7 with about 4 minutes to go. Barnes, and with the flush, shitty defense there by Milwaukee. Sohan, fast break. Nice layup. Timeout. Yeah. And I think the thing, and you can tell me, how you feel about it, but I think that the simple fact that the throw was made right now, if you don't have Marshawn Lynch, a lot of fans wouldn't have minded that creativity, to try to, pull a fast one. And if it would have worked, he would have been known as this evil genius. Everyone thinks we're doing this, but we're going to do this. And it worked, right? But the simple fact that you had arguably the best back in the league that year. And, it's like having a Saquon. And then you're at the 1 yard line, half yard line, 2 yard line, 3 yard line, 4 yard line, 5 yard line. Doesn't matter. It's like having a Saquon Barkley this year and saying, nah. And then you're trying to squeeze it in to like a Devontae Smith from Jalen Hurts, where, the game is on the line. And yeah, the guy could make the play, or an AJ Brown or whatever. But, I think that if they would have handed the ball off and Marshawn would have got stuffed, Seahawk fans would still be hurt the same way, but more accepting of the loss based off the play call. Like, fuck, we ran the play that we should have ran. They stopped us. Fucking A. This sucked, but that was the right play. Because I don't think people would have been like, well, we should have passed it. Again, you're always trying to be like one step ahead. And it's like when teams go for 2-point conversions. If it works, you're a genius. But if the defense makes a play or it doesn't work and your guys aren't on the same page, then you look kind of like an idiot. Like, damn it, what did I do? And again, it's always awesome when it works. But when it doesn't, you're like, oh, so close. Like, and especially for, if this play determines a fucking Super Bowl, we're not talking about just like a preseason game and like a call. Like, that was a big, big call. But again, on the flip side, if it would have caught, right, and you won, I mean, we're talking about Pete Carroll in a different way. We're talking about that legacy and that team, and who knows where they go after that. Maybe that they're done, maybe they're not, depending on who they can sign and who they don't. The future of the team would have been maybe a little bit different if you would have won, right? But I feel that a lot of Hawk fans that I've talked to that I know, that would have been hella more accepting if they just, would have given it to Marshawn. It's just like if the Eagles have that same opportunity late in the game, right, and Saquon is there, and then they don't go to him, and the Chiefs win, people are going to lose their goddamn minds. Like, you have the best back in the league, you use them, and again, sometimes people try to outthink the opponent, but a lot of times when you do something risky, it doesn't work. It's definitely got to be calculated and then a little bit of luck. But should have handed the ball off to Marshawn, because I really think that Marshawn would have gotten in. And I think, and it's not like a Hawk, thing like, oh yeah, Marshawn's the best, he would have got in for sure. It's one thing to be biased Hawk fan and think that, but as outsiders, they're like, yeah, he would have scored. Like, you're talking about fans from every team. They're like, they recognize like Marshawn is one of the best backs. Like him and LeGarrette Blount were like the backs, even though they weren't maybe the most famous, but they got the job fucking done, and they done it like in a physical way that we haven't seen. And there's a reason why those guys were so successful, because they were built different, kind of like a Mike Allstott. But you guys were, obviously brother halfbacks. It's like that physicality. You ain't stopping the Marshawn, right? You weren't stopping LeGarrette Blount, right? He'll run you over, and you ain't stopping Mike Allstott, let me tell you. Might not be the most popular name, but true fans know how good those guys were. That's facts. I always like to look at things at multiple perspectives. I don't think that there's necessarily, you have to be able to look at it by multiple sides. You can't just look at it from one angle and one side, and that's the correct answer. There's always going to be, multiple views, and, as long as you can kind of go over all of those. But again, it's just like I feel like with Oregon when we lost to Auburn, and then that motherfucker did that spin move and didn't have his knee hit the ground, got an extra 15 yards. They kicked the field goal, and we fucking lose. Like, that was ours. I really feel that was ours, and I respect Cam Newton and how good he was, even though he probably shouldn't have been playing. Getting kicked off the Florida team with all those crazy players that were on there. But that one stung. Just like I know the one with the Hawks stung with New England, because it's like you kind of feel that you should have won. It was yours. It like slipped through your fingers in like the worst fucking way. Like one play different, and you're champion. That's hard to fucking stomach sometimes. It's one thing to get blown out in the Super Bowl or the big game, but when or like when Oregon played fucking Ohio State, what am I supposed to say? Jesus Christ, down like 28-0, we fucking lost within the first quarter. But then when you lose by 1, 2, or 3, or at the very end, and you're like, damn, so goddamn close. Big three right there. 127-108 Spurs. Yeah, but I think if you run it with Marshawn, he gets in, changes history, right? And then obviously Pete gets looked at it a different way, and then obviously if the pass goes through and you guys win, there's no guarantee that that's it. The run is over. Maybe you guys get to another NFC championship game or Super Bowl based off restructuring people. Some guys are going to leave, because if you win 2 Super Bowls, you're not going to keep everyone. But you might have been able to keep the Legion of Boom, Marshawn, a little bit like intact. And then who knows what could have maybe led to another one, a year, 2, 3 years after that initial run. It could have been possible. So, or it could have just ended right there. But then you got 2, nothing better than that. But I think it's kind of a lesson to be learned that, you can be, in tune, with the team, but you really need to, evaluate who are your best players. You got to get your best players the ball in the critical moments. It's like Saquon Barkley having the ball in his hands is going to give the Eagles the best shot to be able to beat the Chiefs. And let's be honest, the refs, to a certain degree. It's not going to be on every play, but let's be honest, every fan, Kansas City or not, knows that we've seen some weird stuff happen in many, many games that can't really be fully explained. Obviously we have gambling being legal, and obviously conspiracy theories and whatnot, but certain things are facts. CP3 with the 3 airball, no good. Like if they're the least penalized team, or they get less penalties than every other team, there's a reason for that. The way that they're officiated, whether that comes from the top with Goodell, or they're getting some kind of pep talk and whatnot, and obviously we've seen referees in the NBA cheat the game, save points, call, certain fouls wrong, and like pick on a player like Allen Iverson. There's been a lot of stuff that has come out, or being like Donaghy, where he ended up cheating to make the Lakers three-peat when the Kings should have won, with Bobby Jackson and Mike Bibby, Peja Stojakovic, Vlade Divac, right? Chris Webber. Doug Christie, you guys remember that team, right? That team was supposed to win, and then they reffed it a certain way, so they made it where the fouls would be called more for LA, and then the Lakers obviously we get it. That was a strong point, for the NBA and whatnot, but you have to think that fans do have a right to be able to question referees and calls, good and bad, because the shit has happened. A lot of the cheating happened in the fucking 70s and 80s in college basketball first, but no one knows that. Where there was a lot of cheating going on because it was kind of like bookies. It was pre-internet, people weren't catching on yet. And then now, you can see how some people have gambling problems and some people can it goes out of control, got to be careful with that. $10 holla. But at least you got the one. And, getting one championship is better than getting no championships. Stacks on stacks, Rex on Rex. Cactus Jack, bang, bang. 129, 111. Spurs, and I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you. And like I mentioned, it's been pretty light for the last few weeks. So this definitely helps out a lot. Like every dollar matters. And hopefully we'll get some good results for Royal Rumble tomorrow. A good chance to get to goal, or at least half to goal. And then also on NASCAR, I'm hoping too. So 129, 111 Spurs. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But if you really look at their teams, I break down each player, and I'm looking at stats like reflectives and whatnot. But I honestly feel player for player, the Eagles are the better team. But if you have to trust, Mahomes or Jalen Hurts in the big moment, you trust probably Mahomes a little bit more just based off reputation, where he's only really played bad against the Buccaneers and he's played well, and everyone since then, regardless if they have Tyreek or not. So, Jalen, it's like both of them only have to be game managers and not have the big fumble or pick six or fumble for touchdown or turnover. They literally could throw for 250 yards or less, 1 or 2 touchdowns, and even a pick, and that would be good enough to win the Super Bowl, right? But if Saquon Barkley has a chance to be Saquon Barkley, the Eagles' chances of winning drastically goes up. Because that'll mean less, opportunities for Hurts to fuck up the game. Even though that we do know he's a top 5, top 10 quarterback, but a top 5, top 10 quarterback can still fuck up against a good defense, right? Ooh, I like this one right here. 64 free throws, yeah. Charles Barkley on that team, Kevin Johnson, Dan Marley, Charles Barkley, Tom Chambers. Like my brain is like wired. Mark West. Like I swear to God, I know Sheldon's got the Big Bang Theory, but the amount of sports cards and sports that I remember from that young age, I don't know how I remember that stuff from being, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, and, being at 42 now, and some of that stuff being like 30 plus years old, but it's like yesterday. I can still see myself on the couch with the starting lineups, wrestling figures, and just watching and, collecting cards. Oh, Sohan going up for the big dunk over $3. In and out, no good. Dame, baseline, pump fake. Baseline pass. Trying to get it to Giannis, but they're defending him well. In and out, no good. Wemby with the rebound. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are only one of 2 teams that have gone twice and to win both. The Baltimore Ravens is one with Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, right? And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Back in the Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp, John Lynch, Rondé Barber, Mike Allstott era. John Gruden, Monty Kiffin, Simeon Rice, right? And then obviously the Tom Brady, the last one. Looks like Giannis did hooking there on Wemby. I don't know if Wemby took a shot to the back of the head there. Giannis getting a little frustrated. But again, Ducks haven't won it. Mariners haven't won it. Blazers won it, in 77, but I wasn't born yet. I was born in 82, so I didn't witness Bill Walton and that, Blazer Mania. I witnessed Blazer Mania in 90 and 92 and that run for about 3 years, and the Blazer glasses, Dairy Queen stuff, like you didn't even give a shit about basketball. Wemby with the fucking poster. Oh my. Wemby, that will be on SportsCenter tonight. Holy fuck. Wemby got up like he was going to dunk a 13-foot hoop. I mean, he went, oh, shit. I knew I was going to see at least one Wemby. Whoa. I mean, he went, especially if you're almost 8 feet tall, like you can put your hands up without even jumping and you're already touching the rim. Giannis pushed down. Now it's getting a little chippy out there. Spurs are like, sit down, Giannis. But, they're getting chippy there. Giannis talking shit, trying to fight now. Sohan and Giannis trying to get into it. Now we got all kinds of people spilling out to the floor. But Mariners no, Ducks no, close, a couple times, right? Kraken, no, obviously too young. Blazers 77, but we had really, really good teams. And honestly, if we didn't play the bad boys, one of the best of all time, like toughness, defense, like Jordan couldn't even get past these guys for a long time. Lots of great. And then the thing about the bad boys, it was one of like the most, like real true definition of hard work and team. And it's kind of funny because the Piston team later was a version of them, but just a poor man's version. Chauncey Billups of, Isaiah Thomas and Rip Hamilton of Joe Dumars. And then, they got the Tayshaun Prince and the Ben Wallace, the Rasheed Wallace. And then you had the Dennis Rodman on top of the Bill Lambier, John Sally, it's like in the microwave. Like if you look at the way that the teams were built, like every guy did their role. Isaiah could do it all and distribute. Dumars was the three-point shooter. Rodman would just get you rebounds and blocks and be a fucking menace out there before, he really did the whole Hollywood partying thing when he was in San Antonio. He was like the normal Rodman was in the Pistons. And then when he went to the Spurs, that's when he started, coloring the hair and, staying out on all-nighters and coming to games hungover and still getting 20 boards. Dennis Rodman-ish. But the 90-92 team, man, and then losing to Jordan when he, 6 for 7 in the first half, he does it's like Clyde Drexler was the best two-guard in the league besides Michael, back in that little time period. He was the best number, 2 shooting guard, but just Jordan was Jordan. And, if Jordan wasn't there, then Drexler obviously could have got more pub. But when it really comes down to it, Clyde was the Glide, but, Jordan had like the Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality. And when you're a player as good as Jordan and Kobe, who are better than everyone else, better than LeBron, just those are the top, and it's never going to change. You can always go way, way back with like Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell. Like you can go with like a bunch of names from, all kinds of positions, Magic, Bird, guard, but real people know. Excluding Wilt Chamberlain because we didn't get to see him, but 100 points in a game and, getting triple doubles where he's getting like 50 points and 35 rebounds. Like, you don't have anyone doing shit like that now. But I think most people that, grew up in an era to watch Jordan, most would say that that's the best. Deservedly so. But definitely Kobe over LeBron. LeBron, a great all-around player, but, not on the Kobe level. Not even close. Does not have the Mamba mentality. But, a good all-around player like a Scottie Pippen. The modern day Scottie Pippen, but then also above Scottie, because obviously with the scoring, the records, the rebounds, the passing, the titles, even though he was jumping ship everywhere. Front rim by Giannis, 131-112. This one got out of hand. Most people thought the Bucks were going to win this even on the road. Wemby mania, huh? Wemby with 30. I've been blessed by doing some of these NBA games and getting some good performances. SGA putting up 52 for captain on stream, and now some pretty good numbers here. Wemby with 30. Giannis with 35, Lillard with 22. Oh, I bet. KJ got 16. Oh, for sure it was. You can always tell too, because in the Laker, three-peat era against the Kings, it's like Vlade was getting hacked, Weber was getting hacked, Peja shooting threes was getting hit on the wrist. Bobby Jackson was giving that good energy, and Mike Bibby, Doug Christie with the defense. But it's like when it came down to calls based off physicality, like you could definitely tell where. One, it was a touchy-feely where it's like a little bit, foul, and then the other team would get hacked 10 times harder, nothing. And then when you see that consistently, then you kind of have this, thing going on, right? Like when you're seeing all of these ways that Casey even bailed out, one way or another. So. But, either way, we're going to get history in the Super Bowl. Eagles getting that Super Bowl for Saquon, Jalen Hurts, that legacy. Or we're going to get a three-peat, first time ever. And then Mahomes and Kelsey. And it really is, more about Andy Reid and Spags, and that legacy, even though most people will be talking Mahomes and Kelsey and whatnot. Because if you don't have Andy Reid and Spags, you don't have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey doing what they're doing, period. They could still have a good coach, and they might have a Super Bowl, but they won't have as many deep runs if they didn't have those two, 100%. Nice passing by the Spurs, unselfish ball movement. They got like the fucking 12th man in there, and he's just busting threes there. Okay. The former Blazer in the game, Zach Collins. That's a guy that I was hoping that we wouldn't have given up on, but sometimes with injuries and big men, you just gotta, organizations have to make different decisions. 134, 137 now, 114. Jackson Jr. for three, in and out, no good. And all of the starters on both teams relatively are just letting the backups now play. Oh, it was much before that, bro. Because that was in 96. And you got to think Jordan started playing in, 84. So the deal started, and he already made the game-winning shot for North Carolina to win the championship before that. So he was already kind of like on the map of being something special, but no one knew he was going to be like the best of all time. And then, the shoe came out relatively quick, early on. So, by the time 96 was up, it was like my iconic shoe. I think it was like the Jordan 11 with the black leather on the black shoe with the red bottom, or the white shoe with the black leather that looks like a dress shoe with the North Carolina blue bottom. That's like the most iconic Jordan, with the leather. You see that one swagged out by celebrities, athletes, and shoe collectors and just regulars. It's the swaggiest Jordan ever. Oh, kaboom! Your boy will educate you. I'm a sneakerhead too. I got the hobbies, man. I don't have a whole lot of shoes though. Most of my stuff is going to be into like sports memorabilia and toys and cards and stuff like that. But I got a pair of early Dames, Rose City Red, and they're all red, all over on the tongue, the bottom, and it's just like a crazy, really rose red, and then it's got roses that are subtly in green, kind of like on the tongue. That you don't you can see it, but it doesn't like overtake the red on the shoe. I've never worn them, and they're still sitting in the box and whatnot. And I know I can get a couple $100 for them, but I'm not going to sell them. Never even put them on. Still got the brand new shoe smell. There's only going to be a few type of shoes that I'll collect. Dames early on, representing obviously Portland and Adidas, Jordans. Or something like a LeBron from back in the day. Big dunk there by the Spurs. 141, 114. Holy cow. Yeah, but those are one of the only ones that I feel, because I had like some old school LeBrons, like LeBron 10s or whatever that were epic and, insane, and, some Jordans and whatnot. But those Dames are pretty special, because it's like normally you're not going to have anything like Blazers, but it's a incredibly fire shoe. Very stylish. It's a fire shoe, my guy. And I don't even like red, even though it's for Blazers and Bucks. I more like green apple and like blue Mariners. So it's like, I don't, I think sometimes it's like, we all have like different colors that we like to dress in. Like, I like the black and because it just goes with everything, and whatnot. But so you got the Dame with the green, and then you got the roses in there and like kind of in like a tattoo style on the black. It just the subtlety. It's a fire, and then it's got the little clip on the back. Like, I'm a fashion type of person, so I'm always going to be looking at what's fashionable, not just comfortable, something special. But these are locked up in the box, and I ended up getting them off a guy that waited in line in New York when they dropped. These guys wait in line for, obviously anywhere between 2 and 10 hours, depending on the shoe. And they were available for a short period of time here in Oregon. If you got lucky at like a Foot Locker or like something like that. But, sneakerheads knew, that if Damon's going to be coming out with shoes and he's going to have a lot of variations, that you should, try to get the ones that are popular. Nice rebound dunk by the Bucks. Like another one that's really fire that I don't own is the PDX carpet. So it's got the PDX carpet. So if you've ever been to Oregon and been to the airport, it's got this very unique looking airport kind of colors on the carpet, and then they ended up making a Dame based off that, which is incredibly swaggy. People from the Northwest know where it's from, and it has a cool look to it. So I'm always looking for shit like that. Final score, 144-118, Milwaukee. What happened? Yeah, and then I was thinking about making a post with me and Paisley and like tagging like Hoka and Brooks and Nike and Adidas. That's like, I was like, I need a shoe where I can walk in it for an hour and a half, 7 days a week for the ever. Like I'm walking every day, no days off, for like an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. Like, what is a shoe that is going to be stylish, but comfortable, and it's going to be durable enough to make last longer than the others? And then they can give me the shoe for free, and I'll wear it. Because I guarantee there's other people like me. There's not going to be people that are going to be out there in the rain or the snow. Some people will walk maybe once. Some you see do twice, but I don't think you see too many people doing the 3 times. I'm trying to give Paisley that best life. Big win. But if I could get some Hoka or Brooks or some high-end stuff, I mean, if it has like Vapor Max kind of stuff where it's got air bubbles, they end up making something brand new technology. I want to be able to find what is going to be the most stylish black shoe that's got air bubble or not, but I want something that's going to, be comfortable but last. And give me some new technology in all of the shoe game. Give me that material that doesn't break down as fast as all the other. Give me that special stuff. So that way I can walk longer and I don't got to replace my shoes as fast. Right now I'm doing Vapor Max right now. And, they usually will last me maybe a half a year, maybe 6 months. And then I got to get another pair. But it's if you're going to be spending 160 to 180 on a pair of shoes, I would like to have it last a little bit longer than 6-7 months. Facts. But I think any shoe that you get, even $200, $300 shoe, if you're walking that much, it's not going to matter. They're all going to break down either at that point or much sooner if it's a shitty shoe. But not the Dames, baby. Stylish. These are a shoe that you could just wear around in the house and strutting around. Right? These could be put in a case and you can stare at it. It'd be a great shoe for Dame to autograph once he comes back to Portland. 144-118 Spurs. What do we want to do for photos here since the game is over? Should we do some like food, or do you want to do Seahawks, Mariners for obviously the people that donated with Reflect and Captain? You lead the way, and then again I'm going to do Royal Rumble tomorrow, which will be around 2-3 o'clock Pacific. That'll be tomorrow's stream. So some of y'all will be here, some may pass the event. And NASCAR on Sunday at 5 Pacific. Come hang out, say hello. Even if that's not your thing, tomorrow as well. And if you can do it, if you have time, and then Monday Night Raw Monday, and then we'll see Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with some maybe basketball or hockey or something. And then we got to do at least an NFL stream or two before Super Bowl. Picks and predictions, breakdown based off position group, and going over everyone's thought on that as well. Take care of your mental health. It's important. Or I got to go to another game here. Your boys got to go to another game. What other games are on? What do we got? What do we got here? Take care of your mentals in your bread. What should I watch? SmackDown? Is it still going? Oh, SmackDown is still going. Tiffy time. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. You said hot dogs. All right, let me see. Let me see what I can find. Nia Jax. Oh, Tiffy, Nia Jax. SmackDown. Blue apron with the white ropes. They've definitely been modifying the look of Raw, SmackDown, and main event to kind of you want to brand it, right? You want to make it as close as you can branding wise. For each color, red is associated with Raw, blue is SmackDown. About time that they did something like that. All right, Captain. He's like, I need a hot dog. But it can't just be a hot dog. It's got to be like chili dog or something like good. So it can't be a regular dog. Maybe chili dog. Okay, I could go for some. I haven't had those, and man, I couldn't even tell you. Who is going to WrestleMania? All right, SmackDown is on. Hot dogs. John Cena's final Rumble. Man, I can't wait for the Rumble tomorrow. WWE Royal Rumble. It's going to be sweet. Spicy. Yeah, but the thing is making it yourself, and with love, then you end up getting something like that. It's like there's always going to be, like maybe a restaurant that, might be able to do it. But the best way, for dogs is like, to come up with your own and putting in the work. And I'm telling you, once you do, it tastes better. Like, especially that type of food, when you can come up with a good creation with like chili too. And it's not just a regular dog with ketchup or mustard or both, or however you eat, I feel like that is very true. Also, I think that's also true with nachos. When you make them yourself, if you get the bag and and use the oven and make sure you get a bunch of the ingredients with the ground beef or the cheese, and you have all the accoutrement, you got all the extra, right? And then you do it yourself. I don't know. I just think every time when you have those certain type of comfort foods, you do it yourself, and it can end up being even better than restaurant. Just depending on what you decide for your ingredients. Getting the Tillamook cheese, the high-end cheese, grating it on, or getting the stuff that's pre-sliced. But I have been really craving like a mound of nachos like this, which is a little ridiculous because, I don't really eat like I used to. But, just a mound where it's just like ridiculous. You see people with taco salads, you see people with like nachos. They're just like the ridiculously way too tall, but again, that it's going to get devoured. And I think I like when you get the tower, of the nachos, and then you can kind of modify on what you want to use, chicken or beef or other substitutes and whatnot. But then, the guac and then the sour cream, then you have to make sure that it's all distributed evenly, and you got to get the cheese in there, and the onion. It's like, everyone's got their little go-to, but I would, something like this would really make me happy, just because I haven't had something like this in over a year. That's weird to say. I mean, this is something I used to eat like once a week, maybe sometimes twice a week. Cravings, when you kind of let yourself go, or you're depressed, and then you just eat out of just eating, but then you just, instead of eating until you get, kind of full, you're eating until you can't move. And doing that is not good, But I think all of us have been there at some point or another. Portions is everything, but I'll tell you this right here, though, looking pretty good. And I think that restaurants, when you get nachos from restaurants, I feel a lot of times, the chips are cold. It's not like you have to eat it there. Like, getting it delivered is a real risk unless you have a place that's like fire right down the road from your house, 5 minutes away or less, then it's going to be great. But if it's more than 10 minutes, like, you're not going to get what you want. So if you make it from home and then you use your Tillamook cheese and you get your freshly, chopped up and with the guac and the sour cream, and, you got whatever you're going to use for the protein there, and then it just turns out to be something like ridiculous. I think it like takes your programming, your show, your movie, your sporting event, takes it to the next level. So the next time you have guests over, if you do have guests over, or if you just want to do it for yourself, put in the effort, get in the result. Damian Priest, 249 pounds. Damian Priest. Who's coming down to the ring? LA Knight, yeah. Give me some of them nachos, yeah. His tag team partner, weighing in at 240 pounds, LA Knight, yeah. Nachos, yeah. LA Knight, Damian Priest. Oh, take a Fatu and Tamatanga. Man, it's like, I feel like with wrestling, some people outgrow it, and that's totally fine. But if it's something that you consistently have watched, just like football, and you just never stopped, then that's what happens when you end up getting to like me and Odin and Sarah's age. It's just something that you stuck with it, you loved it, and some people didn't have that same connection, either with the toys or watching it, and it's a part of who we are. Hopefully I get to live a little bit longer so I can see more of the evolution. I mean, sometimes I love it as much as I love football, which is crazy, or NASCAR or baseball. That's crazy. Anything else that you want to be able to see, reflect, or captain? Big stuff. You don't know it's Cole. Take it easy, brother. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock Pacific on Peacock, Royal Rumble in Indianapolis. And guess who's going to be a special guest? Pat McAfee. He said, come on with it. Chaos. Chaos off every corner. I like things that are spicy. They make me feel alive. Like some people don't like the cold, but it's like cold with wind is terrible. But cold, I don't mind it. And then like spicy, little jalapeno action, like, I'm game. I'm about to leave here in a second. Paisley's in here wanting to spend time with Dad. I got to take her for a long walk. Just want to make sure we get the proper photos up and we get some Saul Goodman up. And then we're going to probably call it a day. And then for some of y'all, I'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock Pacific. And for others, I might see you on Sunday or Monday or Tuesday or whenever that day is. But hopefully sooner than later. Appreciate you, Captain and Reflect, for making this stream a success. Bills need to be paid, and I appreciate you. Appreciate you, Captain Reflect. You the man. Great show. If you haven't watched it, Better Call Saul. Breaking Bad. It's always good to like reconnect with like an old school show, especially it's like if you already have watched your regular stuff and you've been browsing movies or whatever. Sometimes it's cool to get invested in a show and dedicate yourself to the show. Try to see it out. Like I'm still doing True Blood, I'm still doing Walking Dead, and then I'll probably go into the Blacklist, and then possibly maybe this or maybe something else. But I haven't watched it in a minute. But I would probably do Breaking Bad first and then do the Better Call Saul, like do the both of them together. Boom shakalaka. Just the way that he is in the show. Certain people have an aura and a vibe about them, and it's always cool when you can see people being crafty and intelligent when people are trying to like screw them over, but you can kind of outsmart them, and and then a great talker. Great talker. Great character. Because you see him go through a lot of emotions, good, bad, doing good and bad things, and having really good and bad things happen to him in return, kind of like karma and whatnot. And, some stuff, are worth crying about, others, worth getting angry about. But it's cool to be able to see that type of dynamic if you get invested in a show. Big clothesline by LA Knight. Sorry about that. Prayers up. COVID 2021. And that, I said, and as you get older, I actually watched this incredible video explaining why it's harder to be able to keep and have friends once you get over 20 years old, just based on, being around people when you're younger, around your same age. And, things change, once you get to that 20, 30 range. People aren't around the same type of people. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and it's definitely something that you want to cherish, each, friendship. It's always good to have a couple of really, really good ones rather than have like 30, just kind of acquaintance ones. And if you ever were in trouble, you might not be able to rely on anyone, but, you got like, a 5 or a 2 or a 1, but then they're reliable and it's real, then that's all you need. Sometimes you only need one, It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy to really, have this like really, really strong bonds in person, with a lot of different people. Just depends on, how much energy that you have that you can spend on other people. And for a lot of us, it's like, man, the stuff that's going on in our lives is enough. I don't know. Sometimes it's like you just want to spend time with the cat or dog or family or whoever and just take it easy. Yeah, that's tough stuff. End of Skeleton Crew. It's definitely more kid-based like Goonies, but I liked it. I thought the kid actors did a pretty good job. Obviously, people are going to criticize every Star Wars spinoff, but it was better than the last one that obviously didn't get a second season. And I enjoyed it. Like I said, I like to look at things at different points of view, and obviously it's not as good as like The Mandalorian, but I enjoyed it. 104, 144, 118 Spurs. Appreciate you guys very, very much. WWE Royal Rumble tomorrow, 3 o'clock Pacific. NASCAR first race, Bowman, 5 o'clock Pacific on Sunday. Monday Night Raw, 5 o'clock Pacific on Monday. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe NFL. We'll see what we got going on then. But I appreciate you guys very much. Captain, Reflect, you're the MVPs. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the support. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I am out. Gang.